Ladies and gentlemen, the Freaky Fast broadcasting on your Wednesday night. We are finally back to be giving you the coverage of the WSSR Cup Series, back for season 10. It's crazy to think that this league has been around for 10 seasons. It's time to see who could go out there and crown themselves a new champion. It all starts here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the newest configuration of the track. We're going to be seeing side-by-side racing, and we're excited for it all here again on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. We got a new name up in the booth with us. Excited to be working with him. We have Richard Wolsifer with us. Richard, we're excited to have you working with us. Your debut broadcast on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, but I know I'm excited to be working with you. I hope you're excited as well.
Yeah, Sam, I'm really excited to be up here in the booth with you guys. It's going to be different, taking a step back from being in the car. Different, bird eye view at this time, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to, be up here in the booth with you for this season, for season 10 of racing.
Season 10 has a lot of new names that are expected to be hitting the track this season, as we've got a total of around going to be 16 rookies that have signed up to be racing this season at some point. Currently registered for tonight's race is 40, but if at any moment from practice to qualifying, we go over 43 drivers that have signed up, we got knockout qualifying to watch out for, as everyone is excited for the racing here this evening. It's a brand new season. Got a lot of hot drivers to watch out for, but one thing that we know for sure is we've got ourselves a brand new champion. Zach Hall crowned the new champion. He's going to be rocking a new number so far this season, moving from the 32 to the 1. A few other drivers are changing their numbers, a few new names to watch out for as well, some returning drivers, and again, all going to be here this evening. We've already been told some drivers will not be showing up for tonight's race, so the numbers are going to be lowered for this evening, expecting them to ramp up more heading into next week. But Richard, Atlanta, usually it's Daytona, the opener race. What is it like to be expecting a different racetrack like this one, trying to prepare for your first race of the season?
The good thing about this Atlanta configuration is it's still a super speedway-esque race. They're still going to be racing the pack draft racing, so it's not much of a different change. The track is 1 mile shorter, but it's definitely, you're used to going to Daytona to open the season up. A lot of sparks, a lot of racing, a lot of hard racing going on there, but Atlanta can produce just as good of racing, just as great excitement. So it's a different track to prepare for, but it's still going to be that draft pack racing that we're so used to seeing as a season opener.
And we saw it last season as the opener, as we saw Cedric Hunter get into victory lane, having major help from his teammates from Snowy Desert Racing. We've got also returning teams of Lucky Ducks. They're going to be adding a new name who's going to be one to watch out for throughout all this season, with Scioli Racing out there. James Scioli, very good, has been dominant in other leagues throughout iRacing services, and I think he's going to be a main driver to watch out for, part of the rookie class that's joining in. But another driver who looked strong here last season, wrecked out early, Drew Jua, he is back out there this season, and a few other drivers making their return for a new season, a new opportunity for a championship. And another exciting name, Levi Cox. Might not know him a lot if you haven't been watching since the early seasons of the WSSR. Levi Cox, a 3-time winner of this series, one of the fastest drivers back in season 1 and 3. He's got a lot of work to do. It's season 10 now, Richard. That is a long gap that you're moving from to get back into racing with a regular group of guys.
Yeah, that is a really big gap, and I've experienced something like that when I first started with WSSR. I had a 10-year gap from even being on iRacing. So, I mean, you got a lot to learn. You got a whole bunch of new drivers here you got to learn from as well, probably even a different car. So, a lot of new drivers as well. But one driver from last season, rookie last season, made huge waves. Gavin Rogers returning with Next Level Motorsports. He, too, in the championship as well, was unable to get that championship run. But I fear he's going to be one of those top contenders again here in Season 10 as well.
He's going to be a major threat. I mean, you think back to last season, Gavin Rogers was the king of qualifying in the first half of the season, then started to back off on getting those pole awards, but was up front constantly. And as the playoffs progressed, he was more and more of a contender for wins. I think that's going to continue on into this season to watch out for, as practice has come to a conclusion. Currently, your top drivers from practice. Now, this is with pack racing, drafting, but top of the board is going to be the three-time WSSR champion of Larry Yingling. Top of the board, that driver you just mentioned, Gavin Rogers, second fastest newcomer for this season. Excited to see what he's going to be having as we've been watching Justin Malarkey was in the booth last season. Now going to be out on track. We've also seen Malarkey race on Tuesday nights. He's currently third fastest, and then also a two-time champion of the WSSR, finishing out our top four, Vincent Sora. He's going to be a main factor to watch out for. And there's also two other drivers that have won the season opener, both 3 times in the past. Cedric Hunter, Brian P. Johnson, they just know how to get it done to start the season off on the right foot.
Yeah, starting the season off on the right foot with a win definitely sets the tone for how your season's going to be. And, you know, 2 huge ones, Brian P. Johnson and Cedric Hunter, both extremely fast, extremely great drivers. And to win 3 openers, they are definitely people we need to watch out for tonight.
They certainly are. Cedric Hunter, winner of this race last season. What makes this race different? iRacing, updating Atlanta. We're now able to run under the nighttime with the lights. It has been a long time since iRacing has been able to enable this. It's been the whole entire iRacing service where any Atlanta configuration, you only were able to race during the daytime. Well, it's the last time you're going to see the daytime coverage as qualifying starts. We got about 41 drivers that have registered for this race. So everyone that's qualifying should be racing here this evening as drivers are taking off, getting ready to take their chances out there on course. Here's going to be one of the new drivers in the 83 machine of Dylan Drowling, who's going to be one of those drivers that I'm excited about. How are they going to work as a team? Because a lot of team efforts and drivers talking about teamwork. How do you work with one another? And this 83 going to be partnering up with Lucky Ducks here this evening.
Yeah, it's great to see Lucky Ducks adding another driver to their roster. You know, bringing a new driver into your team, you definitely got to learn how their driving style is, and, you know, the other 3, how y'all going to mesh. So it's going to be great to see how they can, you know, work together as a team tonight at a, you know, drafting track. So they should be able to get together. We hope to see that happen, and then we can see what kind of teamwork they can produce through the rest of this race and the season.
And with qualifying at a super speedway type of track, it's always that weird back and forth decision. If you want to qualify up front, be the control vehicles, or start in the back and save your car for those last couple of laps to go for a chance for a win. Other newcomers, top of the board, Leroy Koblet's going to be in the 42, top of the board currently for himself, with a 31.382 lap time. That's their first lap, fastest lap. We're going to see if the second lap can pick up any more extra speed as the 83 Dylan crosses the line for himself, hoping for a pickup, and it will be good enough to top the board with his lap finishing off. It's a 31.274 lap time, but it's Connor Berry who's going to take that away in the 0-2. And now it's the returning driver, Ross Tatum, that takes the top of the board. This is when it gets fun. Richard is seeing that ticker board change on who's going to be on the top spot.
Yeah, the times change really quick here at Atlanta. Speeds are really high. A lot of people try to wait for that second lap to see if they can get the fastest time there. So we might see a lot of, you know, faster drivers lower in the standings at the moment, probably just waiting to save for the fast second lap. But Ross Tatum with that 31.190 is so far still top of the board. Danny Cochran right now out on the track as well. I mean, it's really interesting seeing the difference in what drivers choose to do, whether they try to go out and get their fast lap on the first lap because the tires are cooler, or to wait and try to get the momentum built up around this track to try and get the second one as they're fast.
It looks like Ross Tatum, it was the second lap that was the fastest, as the 2 machine of Danny Cochran. His second lap going to be good enough for 10th place at 31.279. Again, 10th position for the 2 machine. We'll see how far Danny Cochran falls, because we still have over 15 drivers left to qualify here this evening. That's a lot of fast crews. And here's the 3-time champ, Larry Yingling, the 67. He won those championships earlier on in the WSSR campaign, but has always been a threat in every series he runs in. And here tonight, hoping for another solid start to the season. As still, it's Ross Tatum top of the board. A 31.191 is that top time, but not for long, because it's Larry Yingling who finds the top of the board now.
Not shocking to see. Larry Yingling is fast at every track he comes to, and just to be able to put a statement there, it looked like it was his first lap knocking Ross Tatum off the top there. Larry's just one of our fastest drivers here. We're right on board. Zach Hall, our last season champion, getting ready to throw it down. His current lap, full time is 31.189.
He's taking a little bit slower for himself here, wanting to get more ratcheted up, as this is his first lap time that he's on right now. Is the one machine rocking the Trophy Smack colors that used to be ran by Brian P. Johnson. Instead, the one machine now will be carrying on as new rules have popped in. If you are the past champion, you have the ability to take the #1 number. Zach Hall will take that number for himself, and first lap for Zach Hall as he crosses the line, going to be fast enough for 39. So he took the patient approach here, Richard. He'll try to match the top speed here as he flies around this course.
Yeah, he's definitely taking the second lap, fast lap strategy here, getting the momentum built from the first one, hitting the bottom lane there, trying to get the shortest way around the track. Biggest thing with super speedway qualifying is trying to be smooth with your steering. Every little movement in that steering wheel scrubs off the littlest amount of speed. As it looks like he did not finish his second lap. He ran out of time.
And that is the risk. If you are not able to time out when you go out late, you can run out of time. And that's exactly what happened to Zach Hall, our season 9 champion. He's going to start deep in the field, not able to get that second lap time in. And that is a heartbreaker for himself. As we have just finished up practice qualifying, we enter into our warm-up period where we get to say thank you to some of our sponsors. Usually we'll look at the point standings, our schedule, our pick'ems. We'll talk about the schedule and pick'ems. First, we want to say thank you to the amazing sponsors that are going to be partnering up with the WSSR Cup Series this season. One of those being GTR Simulator. GTR Simulator, newest partner with the WSSR Cup Series. If you watched right when we went live, you're going to be seeing GTR joining up with the F1 team of Kicksauber, as they are having themselves a partnered up simulator where it is a staked F1 team Kicksauber, featuring the special edition of the GTA Compact V2 stake F1 team Kicksauber foldable racing simulator. It's officially licensed, and it is exciting to see the partnership of going on with F1 teams with simulator rigs for yourselves. Cannot wait to see more that comes along with GTR simulators. And if you want to go check out all that they have as well, from sim rigs to also steering wheels, pedals, and all of that, go to gtrsimulators.com and remember to use the promo code WSSR for 10% off. Also, another amazing sponsor that we're partnering up with, who's been with us since season 4, it is Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack has been the trophy provider, and we saw it with Zach's profile picture. Custom trophies if you win the season for WSSR. The previous 2 before Zach was one by Benjamin Nelson. The past 3 seasons before that was rings that were customizably made at Trophy Smack. You also can get belts, rings, trophies, and a wall smack, which is a metal plate you put a custom image on. You can find all those amazing items at trophysmack.com. And when purchasing, remember to use the promo code WSSR Smack for 10% off. Thank you so much to the amazing sponsors that we have with us. And with that, let's take a look at how this season will be breaking down. It is going to be a long one for these drivers, and we start out here at Atlanta, but I gotta say, it doesn't get any easier when we move forward, because we go from Atlanta to Pocono Auto Club. Those are gonna be our first 3 races. And Richard, as we take a look here, those first 3 races, then we have a break for Thanksgiving, and then we're right back here in Atlanta for the 08 configuration.
That is a very interesting start to this season. I mean, you're starting out, Atlanta like we did last season, and then you're going to 2 long 2-mile tracks, Legacy Pocono at that, not the current configuration. And I have not put any laps down on Legacy Pocono yet, so I do believe the surface is a little bit different, a little bit more rough, so that will be an interesting race to watch. And then Auto Club, an iconic track that I know iRacers love racing. Sad to see it disappear from the real life racing scene as well. And then right back to Atlanta. That is an awesome track to run. The Legacy Oval 2008 configuration of Atlanta is a great track to run, a lot different than what we're seeing tonight. It will run like your typical intermediate racetrack, like Charlotte, like Texas. That is going to be a fun one to watch with a lot of tire wear, and drivers are going to have to really learn how to maintain their tires.
They certainly are, as we will talk more about the schedule in future races. But for us, we got to transition quickly because we're about to get to race time here in just a few moments. And we got our pickups. Who are drivers we feel like could win? Maybe drivers to watch out for. I think I'm going with a pretty obvious one. If you watched last season, Drew Jua was the most aggressive driver. Unfortunately, got caught up in a wreck. But I think this 88 is looking for redemption. Watch out for Drew Jua. But Richard, who's your pick for tonight's race?
Oh man, my pick tonight is going to be our defending champion, Zach Hall. He put a staple on his win last season, and I think he's got the momentum to keep it up. Zach Hall, I think he can get it done here at Atlanta.
Those are some strong picks, and we also have our third member of our crew. That's going to be Robert Moyer Jr., and he will be going with the newcomer of James Scioli, the 77. Going to be a favorite to watch out for. We got 2 Lucky Duck drivers, 1 Snowy Desert driver, and plenty of other teams and drivers to watch out for here tonight. But those will be our 3 drivers of our pick'ems here this evening. As warm-up slowly coming to a conclusion, once again, thank you to everyone that's joining with us here on your Wednesday night. It's a pleasure to be giving you the coverage of the WSSR Cup Series, the first race of the season for Season 10. It's crazy to think that it's been 10 seasons since this group started, and it is time to see how this first race in the opener of Season 10 is going to be starting out. As warm-ups concluded, qualifying's done, same as for practice. That means all that's left is tonight's race as the drivers are gritting up. Tonight's Atlanta race is going to be 150 laps, stage break at the end of lap 30. And let's take a look at our starting grid here tonight. Taking the top of the board, one of the favorites to watch out, I think, for this season, Larry Yingling in the 67 from the Yin Yang Racing. He's going to be a top driver here tonight. Making a return after doing a lot of part-time racing, the 21 of Ross Tatum will be on that top row. Right behind them, we find going to be the Lucky Ducks driver of Douglas Newbegin in the 7. Will Musler in the 23, making his debut in the WSSR. James Scioli, another debut racer for the 77, will start 5th. 6th is Drew Jua, one of the top contenders for the championship for the last few seasons. Ryan Kelly wants redemption, wants a chance to fight for the championship this season. Again, the 3 starts in 7th place. Started with bad luck, hopes the luck has changed with the new season. Ken Campbell's he's starting in 8th place for the 15. Also another newcomer, we've seen him on Monday nights, is Jarrett Talmadge in the 27, starting in 9th place. He's won plenty of championships on Monday night with the iRacing Cup Series. He'll attempt a chance here for Season 10. Starting 10th, it's the 11 of John Forbes.
Starting P11 is going to be Joshua Kanata in the number 16 car. Shane Therian in P12 just on the outside of him. Brian P. Johnson racing part-time this season in the number 28 car in P13, and in P14 Brian Noel on the outside. Cedric Hunter, last season open winner, starting back in the P15 in the number 13 Hello Kitty car, with Levi Cox, newcomer, sitting on the outside in P16. Chris Stitz inside P17 in the number 17. That's a good match right there with Timothy Harper in P18 in the number 18. That's just a perfect row right there. Then we got Gavin Rogers in P19, our pole, setter basically all last season. Lowe's qualifying position for him in the number 75. And then in P20 outside of him, Connor Berry.
Then we fall down to 21st position for the 74 machine of Nick Crawford. In 22nd place, we find the 8 machine of Brian McCann. 23rd in the 10, it's Ryan Ferraro. Then down in 24th in the 83, we saw him qualified first, then fell down all the way here to 24th. It's the 83 of Dylan Adrenaline, as well as going to be seen in 25th. It's the 2 of Danny Cochran. Down in 26th, it's the 41 of Cameron Thompson. Then in 27th, we find the 44 of John Ross. Then in 28th, it's Ben Kinney in the 98 machine. Then down in 29, we find the 73 of Justin Malarkey. Finishing out our top 30, it's going to be the returning driver of the 6. It's Chad Watkins, and we will see how well he can return. And here's your final few drivers from Richard.
Another returning driver from last season, rookie with Next Level Motorsports, Jared Hughes, going to be starting P31 in the number 68 car with Tom Sinchek on the outside of him in the 26. Starting 33rd is Ale Fonseca in the number 24 car with Cody Reed, number 25. Vincent Soros starting way back in the pack in 35th position, rocking the number 51 car. And Christopher Norris in the 38 and starting 36th. Adam Kraus in the 35 car, starting 37th. And just outside of him, Jared Kelly in the 55 machine. Larry Koblenz in the 42, starting 39th with Christopher Wade, starting outside of him in 40th in the number 53. And then our defending champion, Zach Hall, unable to get his second lap in the number 1 car in P41, rounding out the field.
Starting all the way in the back, but one driver will be starting tonight's race with an EOL that carried over from last season. It's going to be Brian Noel in the 00 to be sent to the end of the line as these drivers are finishing up this pace lap. We're about to go green here very shortly. Richard, it's an exciting feeling when you know a season's about to start. We got 150 laps here tonight. Only the first 30 laps, though, is going to be this first stage. It's going to be a quick 30 laps. What do you think these drivers are feeling as we're about to take off and start a new season?
If they're feeling anything like I am, they're excited, they're nervous, they're ready to get these cars at full throttle and start racing for positions. 30 laps will go by really quick and only the top 10 get points. So I think it's going to be a crazy and hectic 30 laps. We'll see who plays the strategy and wants the points or who wants to save their car for the end of the race.
We find ourselves 41 drivers attempting the first race of the season, and we got a lot of favorites. The competition each season raises higher and higher. We got a lot of drivers that I think we can put in contention that they're going to be the favorites for a championship. But tonight, it's the Tone Center. Who will start out the first race of the season on top? Let's find out. Larry Yingling, Ross Tatum, they start the first race of season 10 for the WSSR Cup Series as the field roars down into turn number 1. And Larry Yingling gonna have the clean launch for himself on the inside. Douglas Newbegin's gonna be following in suit. It's Lucky Ducks that are gonna be the 2 drivers following the 3-time champ. And Richard, this is the start that a lot of drivers are hoping for, a clean one. First lap, no trouble. I think that's a good deep breath you can take as the rest of the field, lap 1, Larry Yingling gets the lead.
Yeah, a nice clean start to the race is what every driver wants to see as they start to go 3 wide there. But as expected, the inside line is going to get that early rush up front because they're the shortest way around the track. But I feel once the outside kind of gets, gathered up, gets hooked up together, that's probably going to be the fastest way around the track just for momentum. But we'll see what they can do. The inside still running the fastest. The outside does seem to be catching a little bit as they all start to shuffle back in line further in the back.
Couple of drivers thinking about going 3 wide. It's going to be the one driver who's most aggressive last season, Drew Jua, sending it to that 3rd lane. Forcing in the middle is going to be Ross Tatum. Took that front row spot, but the 29's been going backwards as the middle of the field clogging up 3 wide. Some are already saying, you know what, let's go to the very back. That's going to be the 8 machine. Brian McCann, who's all the way down on the apron, but staying 3 wide. Ken Campbell now going to be the lone soldier on that upper lane.
Yeah, he's kind of left out to dry there. I'm shocked he's keeping up still at that inside line, but he's got to file himself back in line eventually if he wants to start moving forward. And that's part of the strategy is going to move to the back to save the car. But it looks like everyone's kind of starting to ease out a little bit. Gavin's starting to come into the picture there as well. Yeah, looks like we're starting to see a little bit of calm in the storm, but it's definitely nowhere close to over as people are going to try to make it up to that top 10.
Absolutely not. And one driver that's saying, I want to take off now. We got tires to do it. Why not use it? It's the 41 of Cameron Thompson, already up to 13 positions from where he started. Started all the way back in 29th place, and currently on the inside. He's on the far back stage of this front group. But, I mean, that is a massive gain in just 5 laps up 13 positions. That is showing signs that you know how to work your way through this field.
Yeah, that is fantastic signs that you know how to work your way through the field. And that's the key when it comes to super speedway racing, when you're drafting the entire way. It's the only way to be fast is in the draft. So being able to move your way through the field safely and carefully is the key to getting your positions here.
Seeing some drivers, this is further on back of the second pack is starting to grow. They're losing touch to the lead group and almost about to be outside of the draft. That's being led by Danny Cochran, who is only back in 26th position. This front group that we see, this is our front pack, still led by Larry Yingling, trying to hold both lanes as much as possible. But everyone 2 by 2 from about third on back, as you're seeing the cluster of drivers, but it's that accordion effect that everyone's worried about. The huge checkups that you have here. I mean, Richard, that's one of the big factors of this track that's so different from the bigger super speedway racetracks like Daytona and Talladega.
That is a big difference between this and your Daytona and Talladega, like you were mentioning, is this track is a lot shorter, so the turning radius isn't as long or wide. So later in these runs, these tires are going to start wearing out. That is another big factor here, is tire wear does matter. So they will start having to let up. The checkups will be a little bit more than you will see at Daytona and Talladega. So it's something that they have to factor in, later in these runs when they're running 2 and 3 wide.
And we do have an update on one of the drivers entering tonight, as Brian Noel. He actually not just an EOL to start the night off, also had a park and go penalty. He had to stop for 30 seconds in pit road and then take off. The 00 currently 2 laps down. Going to need a couple of cautions, get back into the mix. As speaking about the mix, it is getting mixy further on back. This is around 20th position. We're seeing drivers 2 wide, 3 wide. And currently it's going to be seeing Levi Cox trying to find a way to pull the rest of the field. Shane Tarian and co. up forward, as staying side by side 3 wide has really been hurting the field, but it's the 99 and the 9 battling for 16th place currently.
Battling for 16th place back there. It could be, just trying to stay out of the trouble, but they also, the few drivers back there, they want to get up and get moving, try to get to that front. So they're kind of hurting themselves if they want to get those points, but at least they're staying, out of trouble, really. As we're back here riding with Zach Hall back in 33rd, this back group here. One car looks like got into the wall, losing a fender there.
That's Christopher Norris, and I went back. I believe there was a technical issue that forced the 38 into the outside wall, clobbering it, and required damage for Christopher Norris as he was coming across the front stretch just a lap ago for himself. Don't know if we're going to be able to get the replay, as the 38 has to go into pit road, but it looked like disconnected, threw himself in the outside wall, and ultimately came up with that major damage. And that's just one of those things of kind of the randomness of internet racing compared to real life racing, when you have those moments where a mechanical failure, something just breaks on the car and you have no control over it. That's what some of these drivers deal with connection issues, monitors going blank. It looks like that just happened to the 38 chain.
Yeah, that's sad to see in the season opener this early as well. He'll be able to get back out on track depending on how much time he's got to repair there, but it's going to be a long, hard race for him to try to get any laps back. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like, we're not in real race cars, so we're not getting typical, mechanical failures they'll see in real life. So, yeah, we've got to rely on our computer equipment. That is our mechanical failure. So when we have a technical issue, that's equivalent to, car breaking.
As right now we're watching the lead pack. It's been a change. John Forbes leading the outside group, but they're catching up the lap traffic. That's going to drop to the apron. That's Connor Berry in the 0-2. Staying low, and he actually had to make a stop. Started on pit road, it looked like, so he was not able to get the launch that he was hoping for to stay with the front pack, but luckily stays out of the way. You love to see that type of respect out on track, because there's other times, Richard, where lap cars will force the pack to have to squeeze up and go 3 wide.
Yeah, and you will definitely see that way later, especially when they start getting desperate to stay on the lead lap or stay in the lucky dog position. They might force themselves kind of up in the line to get, at least tagged onto the draft to keep up with everybody. So I was glad to see him staying down there, showing the respect to these front drivers, letting them race it out, and he's just going to tag on to the very back there and just kind of ride it out and hope he gets that lucky dog during the stage break.
Making alliances is always a key when you come into super speedway racing, and we're seeing teammates now in line. Ryan Kelly, Larry Yingling on the inside row from Ying Yang Racing, and work as one to push their way forward. John Forbes, though, driver that we've seen even on Monday nights, who's a 2-time champ for that truck series, loves to be up front, being a control vehicle, but they are having a little bit of a fear because they're having trouble with Drew Jua in the 88. Major blink, and he's the second car on the outside. He's blinking, caution is thrown as the field reacts around him as trouble strikes, with just no one knowing where drivers were at.
Yeah, network connection issues are always a huge issue, especially here at the drafting tracks, because you just close that gap in so quick and then you don't know where that car disappears, and next thing you know, they're in your hood and spinning around. So sad to see an early caution for a lot of drivers there that probably got involved.
And looking at it, we are not able to re-show the replay of it because the 88 was just blinking the whole time, but ultimately got spun around off the nose of the outside of Brian P. Johnson and spun around onto the front stretch. Also collecting with Drew Joa after that invisible spin was going to be the 17 of Chris Stitz, who grabbed a little bit of damage for himself. But Drew Joa, with the spin, the contact, required damage has been given out to the 88. Looks like it's some suspension damage. His race isn't completely over, but obviously the field a little bit frustrated with seeing a car blinking and being as aggressive as we were seeing Drew Joa be.
And, that was like technical issues like Norris experienced, and that internet can do that. You have little blips of the internet issues, and that's what causes that. So it's sad to see. I understand drivers' frustrations, but that can happen to anybody out on the track. It just, this early, it's frustrating for a lot of drivers that are involved because there's still a lot of racing to go in this track.
Absolutely, and with the technical issues of drivers blinking, I know with the new iRacing updates, it's put a lot of pressure on, the computer side of drivers' CPUs on their computers, and with also the large number of drivers that we have, sometimes just having too many drivers on server can influence one driver's computer more than others.
It definitely can. You have a lot of stuff that are rendering when it comes to, your sim racing. So with all the updates iRacing has done, I mean, we're starting to need more beefier and beefier computers to be able to run with so many cars. So, I mean, it's definitely a bummer. Hopefully he can recover. Hopefully everybody can recover, get their damage repaired, and we can see them back up, running near the front and competing for this win.
As the field is pacing, some have made the decision to go into pit road. Those few drivers going to be Shane Terrian, Nick Crawford, Jared Hughes, as well as Chris Stitz, who's getting that damage repaired for himself. Still in pit road getting service done is Christopher Norris. Drew Jua yet to go into pit road for the 88 machine. I think he might have to take a tow with how slow he is. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it to pit road. He's trying his best at this moment, but once again, thank you to everyone that's joining with us here this evening. Pace car lights are off, so we're going this time by, but I know we got a lot of new people in here excited with a new season to root on their favorite drivers. I know for you, Richard, you got a fan base that's cheering you on for being up in the booth. We're excited for how this season is starting out, but we are still in the first stage. Stage 1 ends at the end of lap 30, unless there's a caution between lap 25 and 30. Richard, we're in that go zone. It's time to take off and go on this restart. I think this is going to be the most chaotic we're going to see these drivers until those final 25 laps.
Yes, we hit that halfway mark at this stage, and it's no joke now. Like, now's the time to start making the moves, because it's not easy to make moves here at Atlanta. It might seem like these drivers make it look like it's easy, but it's not. They're driving 180, 190 mile an hour this close to each other. So it's go time now. By the time we go green, we'll be 19 of the 30. So you got 11 laps to be able to get as high as you possibly can before that green and white checkered flag flies for the end of the stage.
As the field's getting ready for this restart, your front row going to be Ying Yang Racing teammates of Ryan Kelly and Larry Yingling. Then we were going to be having John Forbes, Douglas Newbigging, bringing out new scheme for the 7. And also going to be seeing lucky duck teammate of Douglas Newbigging of James Scioli. Now going to be a new threat up front. We'll see how these drivers, teammates can get in line and work as one. Or is it just find your own way to be inside of the top 10 by the end of the stage? Green flag is out. Here we go. As already drivers trying to get in line with one another, and Ying Yang does it. Going to be Yingling and Kelly already trying to cycle themselves in that front group. Everyone else a little bit more spaced out. Richard, I think this is going to be a huge run to watch out for these next few laps.
Oh, this is going to be a fantastic run to watch for these next couple of laps. You could see drivers that necessarily aren't teammates on a normal day, but you find drivers you can race with, you hook up with them, and you work together because you need friends here at Super Speedway. And it looks like Larry Yingling and Ryan Kelly are doing exactly that as they're fanning her out on this front stretch, which is wild. As the 11, John Forbes diving to the inside. We might have a change for the lead here.
And that is such a John Forbes move. Utilize the momentum, take the run, and be as aggressive as you can. This 11, that's going to be moves we're going to be seeing a lot throughout this season as he's growing more and more confident with the next-gen car. As you look back from the 11, you see a different scheme. This is the black of the Toyota with just the American flag on the hood. This is actually Brian P. Johnson. Doesn't have a number on the side, but this black machine with the American flag, this is Johnson to watch out for. The 2800 ticker board, black machine on track, and he's trying to assist this 11 go pushing forward, and then behind Johnson, new scheme, new driver, it's the 27 of Jared Talmadge, who's also another driver to watch out for on the aggression level as the night progresses forward. As they come across the line, 9 laps to go in the stage, and it's Ryan Kelly leading that outside row for himself with the 67 Larry Yingling, and the rest of the field looking at some of our biggest movers of those that are inside of our top 10. It's still the 41 of Cameron Thompson, up 16 positions from where he started, but everyone else that's inside of our top 10, there's just a handful of them that started in the top 10. Everyone else was outside. Some of them were even outside of the top 20 to move their way forward. A little bit of jostling there from the black machine of Johnson, who tried to find his way to get a good run off the exit of the corner, but this field still side by side. And I gotta say, Richard, this is getting to that closing moments where if you want to move forward, going 3 wide's your only option, but who's willing to take that risk because they don't have fast repair for the rest of this race?
You're right. There is no fast repair here. You know, they wreck their car and they brake. They're sitting in the pits waiting for that repair to be done. So taking that step out to make 3 wide, like you said, is the only way really to pass if you want to keep going up further. But then you got to hope someone behind you is going to follow you because you're going to need that help. And if you go to the middle to try to make that pass, which is a very likely move that a lot of drivers could make, I mean, if nobody goes with you, that's just a sucker hole, and it'll send you right back to the back.
It's going to be a quick distance going backwards. And the amount of drivers that are still out there on track, it could be a long night trying to get all those positions back. And one of those that has been trying to make the run forward, very easy to see, is the yellow machine of Ross Tatum. He's been trying to make the charge forward, but it is a madhouse back here for the drivers that are around that 15th on back zone. As Shane Terrian has to go down onto the apron, he'll stay there as the rest of the field checking up, trying to give space. Terrian stays on the apron until he moves up, but a lot of drivers did not know if the 9 was going to come back on the track, and a big scare for back half of the field.
Yeah, that was great heads-up driving by everybody on the track, watching out for the number 9, and Shane doing a great job keeping that car down on the apron after it looked like him and Danny Cochran got into each other a little bit. His cars are still fanning out across this front stretch here. We're 3 wide back in the pack. Everyone trying to make moves to get further up in the field.
One of those drivers in the middle running a different color than we traditionally see in the white and purple. Larry Art Productions 25. It's Cody Reed. And this was what Cody has done at a lot of super speedway races, is trying to be a threat that just is willing to make big moves to go forward. Currently has stalled out just inside of our top 20. But Cody Reed, one of those drivers that signed up late, and he's trying to make some late charging moves here with the laps ticking away before the stage is over, but trouble behind. Drivers are wrecking, and it looks to be Chad Wilkes who goes around for the 6th. And our first real on-track big one. Could have been a lot bigger. Our first on-track incident right there of a driver getting spun around in the middle of this pack.
Yeah, getting spun around in the middle of the pack is never a good thing, but luckily that was a little further back in the field, and that also will be the end of the stage as well, as we're within that 5-lap, gap that we give. And it just looks like a bad push. It pushed the number 2 into the 6 and just got him around. Looks like it was about only 2 or 3 cars that was involved, and everyone just kind of trying to dodge him as well.
Yeah, that looked to be the 2 machines. The 0200 ticker of Connor Berry, who did not check up in time. The one driver's backing off, and the 2 machine running into the back of the 6. The Watkins, he was trying to, Wilkes, excuse me, in the 6 machine, as there's the tap to spin, the go around. The rest of the field trying to find a way to scatter around the 6 machine as he's trying to collect in the Lucky Charms. Not feeling so lucky, but one driver that is going to be the 3 of Ryan Kelly, taking our stage victory for himself, as Kelly will be heading into pit road to get service done. And with being our stage winner, we'll wait until his pit stop is over to talk to the 3 machine, get his thoughts on this race so far. But Richard, racing action. Our first stage is done for the first race of the season. Man, how are you feeling watching these guys so far?
Oh man, I can tell you now. I wish I was down there racing with them. That's for sure. But I mean, 2 cautions. That's about what I would kind of almost expect. One is about what I was going to totally expect for these guys. These guys are really, really respectful drivers. Really, really skilled. So just crazy aggression from everyone in the field is producing some great moments for us right now.
Well, as the drivers have exited out of pit road, let's see if we can call in our stage winner in the 3 machine. Let's see if we can get Ryan Kelly with us. Ryan, it's Sam and Richard up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, Ryan, yourself and Larry really controlled being up front. But man, how are you feeling? How's the car feeling here in these first 30 laps?
Yeah, it feels good. Feels good to be up front here. Start of the new season, and just enjoying racing with everybody again. And hopefully we can stay up here for the rest of the race.
And Richard, do you have a question for Ryan for us here?
No, sir. Honestly, I really don't. You kind of took my question I was going to ask. So, but no, Ryan, you look like you're doing really strong up there. You look, very smooth like you have been in many seasons before. So, you got any people you're looking forward to working with this rest of this race?
Yeah, hopefully the rest of my Yin Yang teammates this season, Larry, Levi, and Chad, Ryan McCann. Hopefully we can all be up front here at the end and just have a good finish for all of us on the team.
We're going to hope for that as well. Well, Ryan, we'll send you back to the team. Good luck on this restart, and congratulations on being our stage winner for the first race of the season.
Appreciate it, gentlemen.
As that will be the 3 machine from Yin Yang Racing of Larry Yingling. We also have updates of drivers deeper in the field that have had trouble. It looks like Chad Wilkes going to be calling it a race for the 6 machine after being involved in that incident that brought out our most recent caution. Drew Jua still in pit road getting damage to repair. Christopher Norris has been able to get the repairs finished. The 38 is back out on track, being 18 laps down. And Brian Noel, who started this race 2 laps down with a stop and go penalty, he is currently just 1 lap down and hoping for another caution to get that lap back and have a chance to be on the lead lap and challenge some of these drivers further on up. Speaking about further on up, a couple of drivers taking the option of not pitting at lap 30 of this stage. Reason why, these drivers are working with a full fuel load, so they can go around 68 to 70 laps on fuel. Watch out for Leroy Koblitz, and also going to be seeing Adam Cross up there up front. These drivers up front, I mean, I'm curious on how well they can handle because they've got 30 lap older tires compared to the rest of the field. Some of them took 2 tires, some took 4. We're going to see the major difference here of what it's like to have old tires compared to new. As the green flag is out, stage is over, and it's their 38. Not able to get the launch that he was hoping for. Already going to be losing a little help from Larry Yingling. And here we go, Richard, down into turn number 1. It's going to be Leroy Koblitz leading the charge with the rest of the field, trying to catch up to him.
Leroy got a great jump on that restart as he was in control, but he got out way too far. He's got Ryan Kelly and Larry Yingling out up top there with the run. They're going to be able to take the lead and get control of this race again. I was expecting that was a good move for those drivers further in the back to kind of be up front. Because, I mean, 30 lap old tires, that's kind of old, but it's not too terribly old still because they can control the pace for the most part if they really worked on it, but it just didn't work out because he just got too big of a launch and they just able to get the momentum in the pass. And now we got Ryan Kelly and Larry Yingling controlling the race again.
Controlling the race, but from this blimp cam, you could see the trouble from the 42 of Leroy Koblitz. He just is not able to get into the throttle as cleanly as everyone else, really holding back this inside pack. Almost got to see the 7 of Douglas Newbigin caught up in an incident. Same for the 77 of Scioli. They did not find spacing that they were hoping for. This inside row starting to get a little bit more drivers leading the charge. It's going to be seeing the 11 of John Forbes as well as the 41 of Cameron Thompson, who's been our biggest mover of the night, continuing to find some big moves for the 41. Now up 31 position. Up 18 positions from where he started here tonight.
Yeah, Adam Kraus doing a fantastic job up here, following suit, keeping up with these leaders as we got a little loose there on the outside. But that inside kind of seems to be falling back. That outside's gotten really hooked up, and that's what I expected to kind of be the fast line around this track.
It's the fastest way around, but I mean, it's always that kind of give up and kind of the back and forth seesaw of how much do you want to give up that speed early to have the tires later on. I think it's the difference we're seeing right now. Drivers that want to move forward, such as the 15 we're right on board with right now. Going to be Ken Campbell and that Campbell Super Machine trying to find his way forward. Probably one of the funner drivers. If you have not watched Ken Campbell's YouTube videos, go watch Campbell Racing, and some of the funnest racing to watch as he's got his point of view shot. And right now we're on board with this 15 as he's giving us a clean shot of what it's like to take the lead position, getting a lot of help from behind as the 23 machine of Will Bustler helping Campbell move forward. But gotta say, if you haven't, after this broadcast, go check out Campbell Racing's YouTube channel and get to see what his point of view, his racing rig. It's an amazing rig that he has, that he shows off on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, that is awesome. You're able to show off, you know, what you're racing with over on YouTube with your own point of view, your own camera to show everybody to see how you experience, you know, the iRacing and league racing here with WSSR. But Ken's doing a great job there on the inside. Was able to get really good momentum run to get side by side with Larry now. So it kind of looks like both lines have kind of stalled with each other at the moment. So let's see what everyone in the back wants to do is get a little bit of 3 wide here. 36 looks like he got a little bit out of line there.
Yeah, that's going to be Kraus, who gets just shoved out of the way from John Forbes, who just says, yeah, I'm moving forward. Speaking about trying to move forward, has been going very slowly all the way forward. That's Zach Hall, only back in 33rd position, but he's with some allies that he knows, with Cedric Hunter, who's looked quick, also with former drivers that they've raced with in the past of Levi Cox. These are going to be 3 drivers. I think they're going to make their truck forward at some moment. Trying to find some more allies, but we got to move up front because we were almost 4 wide battling for 5th place. And it's Cody Reed forcing the middle, and it's Kraus once again who's just being bounced around and kind of turned into a pinball as he's just being bullied up and down this field.
And Cody Reed, I will say, racing with him, he is definitely probably one of the action men of this series. He loves making the aggressive moves and taking things 3 wide. Just a very aggressive driver, but clean as well. You know, he doesn't really cause a lot of issues with being the aggressive moves that he makes. But almost 4 wide, they're still able to keep it straight. No caution. We're still racing.
They certainly are still racing. The outside row still looking the strongest at this moment. So right on board with SpongeBob Machines, 27 of Jared Talmadge. As he's going to be following in suit with the 28 Black Machine of Brian B. Johnson. The inside row at moments peek their nose ahead, but not able to really move forward. Starting to hit a wall. It's only on the entry of the corner where they can really get that big gain of pace is the inside row, but it's the exit or the outside. You see that momentum. I mean, Richard, it is a massive, the amount of runs that these drivers get off the exit of the corner when you're on that outside row.
Yeah, those runs on the outside are just insane. But being able to cut that corner on the inside to gain a little bit of ground, you know, if you can do it right, get up there and side draft. That'll help bring that outside line back. But, I mean, that could be a little dangerous as well because the side draft here in the Sin, it likes to pull the cars into each other. So, I mean, you got to do it right. You got to do it safe. But Ken Campbell's doing a great job leading that inside line. Still side by side with Larry Yingling for 2nd place. And it looks like he might get next to Ryan Kelly there, poking his nose just a little bit in front, trying to take the lead. Is he going to be able to lead this lap?
He'll come across the line, and he will lead that lap. So that's a picture-perfect sign of how you want to set up a pass if you're on the last lap. If you want to make a slight run, if possible. And the 15 getting the nose, getting a little bit more ahead, and maybe we're seeing that transition of the tires right now. That inside row looking a little bit more calm, but the calmness is not behind this front group. As once again, it's Jared Talmadge going to be on the outside, the 35. Trying to get by this group as it's going to be the 83 stuck in the middle. And if they're trying to find some help, it finally will find a little bit of help. It's the 24 of Ali Fonseca that helps out at that 83 machine.
Yeah, now the number 16 with Joshua Kanata stuck in the middle. Everyone kind of leaving him alone, just driving around him. But just back to the back Joshua goes. That's never fun to see. It's never fun to be in that position either because you just hate. There's nothing you can do. You're just seeing cars drive on the left and right side of you. He's doing a good job. Keep it next to the other cars there in the middle lane. So getting a little dicey back there as there's 2 3-wide lane or rows right there going for one. And Shane Terrian gets up into another car.
That's going to be Vincent Sora, and oh no, more drivers setting up at the outside wall. That's the Hello Kitty machine. It's Cedric Hunter further on back. Well, Vincent Sora Going to be massive collision for the 15 machine. Both Sora and Hunter require damage. They both have to go into pit road, and no yellow is thrown. We stay green as two drivers get critical and fatal damage for themselves.
That is unfortunate to see. Cedric Hunter probably not going to be able to come out and win the season opener, you know, like he did last season. Two of our top drivers, we have a replay right here to see what happened. I saw Shane Terrian get up into another driver, kind of push them both up into the wall. I want to see what happened further back. I'm assuming they were just trying to dodge what was going on.
Yeah, and here's going to be the thing. Shane Terrian stuck in the middle in that monster machine. It's Vincent Sora who's going to be on the outside, and as they go into the corner, pushes up into the 51 and just trying to react to get around Vincent Sora with Cedric Hunter. And after contact, sent back into the outside wall, and both drivers sent to pit road. No fast repair, so they have to sit in pit road, get the required damage fixed, any optional damage fixed as well before they can get out there on track. That is such a frustrating moment and feeling, especially on, I just got a meatball flag saying required damage, I have to go to pit road, and yet no yellow flag is thrown on top of it.
That is the worst feeling ever, because you know you're going to be sitting there for more than likely a minute, 2 minutes minimum, and then also your optional damage, like you were saying, especially at a track like here, you need to take all your damage repair as much as you possibly can, because if you don't get that optional damage repaired, you're going to have aero drag that's just not going to be able to keep up with the field. So just an unfortunate situation for both Vincent Sora and Cedric Hunter. Sad to see both of them get the meatball flag and head to the pits.
It just makes the field a little bit smaller as we continue to race on. The field up front still being controlled by the Ying Yang drivers of Ryan Kelly as well as Larry Yingling. And seeing a few other drivers, there's not a lot of movement going on in our top five. I'd say our top five has stayed pretty stable since we've gone back to green flag racing. A lot of that movement's been about 7th on back, where drivers have been slotting back and forth. That 3 wide moves have been happening around one another. A couple of drivers that have been making some big moves. Ali Fonseca up 24 positions from where he started, as well as a driver we have not noted on, back in 12th position, running the Superman scheme. And if you can get attached to Ken Campbell, you're going to be a pairing to watch out for. Christopher Wade. He had probably the worst luck of any driver on top of Ken Campbell, his teammate, last season. In the 53, he's on the charge to move forward and crack the top 10.
Yeah, they definitely did not have a very lucky season in season 9, but hopefully that could change here in season 10, as we had some cars getting a little sideways there on the front stretch, getting into each other a little bit. But you know, I think this is the time when the tires are starting to wear out. They're going to start getting tight into these turns, as some of these drivers, it looks like number 7 kind of getting into the Ford and Chevy there, or Ford.
Seeing that 35 machine do his best to stay out of trouble if possible, as falling back to the 7 machine Douglas Newbigging, as well as seeing the 21 and the yellow mellow machine. That's Ross Tatum. And I'm curious on your thoughts on this, Richard. I would say a handful of drivers on our last caution at the stage break of lap, they came into pit road around lap 25, went with a 2-tire stop. I'm curious on your thoughts of taking 2 tires compared to 4, when you know that these drivers, you would probably prefer 4 tires at a track like Atlanta.
You would think. I can't fully recall how the tire wear affects the cars here. I just know they get tight, but you know, getting those newer tires on that right side, you know, when the cars does start getting tight and those left side tires are worn out, those right side tires have a little bit more grip, and it kind of helps turn the car in the turns, so it might help keep them balanced or stable for longer than getting tight sooner.
And we'll see how that's going to continue on in this run. 24 laps on this set of tires for the drivers up front. Ken Campbell still leading the way as we are 1/3 done of tonight's race. And it's all about side-by-side racing up front. Everyone trying to keep themselves out of trouble. We've had a couple of wild moments as we've been back to green flag racing. I think we're going to take our first commercial break of the evening as we're side by side. You won't miss a thing as we continue to race here in our first race of the season, season 10. It's your WSSR Cup Series at Atlanta. We'll be back right after this with more great Super Speedway action. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Racing Action. First race of Season 10 for the WSSR Cup Series here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me up in the booth for his debut broadcast with us is Richard Wilsifer, and also, as always, Ray Productions. In the background is going to be Robert Moyer Jr. Drivers up front, it has been the Yin Yang show of Larry Yingling and Ryan Kelly. We've seen some drivers try to compete to get in front of them. We've had two cautions of on-track incidences. One being a driver blinking and getting spun around. Others for drivers just putting the outside wall and bringing out a caution. And a few have had their nights done with being put in the wall and not a caution being thrown out. It's been an early going as we are closing in on the halfway of tonight's race, and as well, we're about halfway through this green flag run before we might be seeing some pit stops happen for this field, which, Richard, I think that's going to be the fun part, is how are these drivers going to calculate when you want to come into pit road, or are you calculating for the what-ifs of a caution coming out with some of these tires starting to fall away?
I think with Atlanta Motor Speedway right now, it's still really hard to try and get those green flag pit stops. So I think a lot of these guys are probably going to try and bank on that caution coming out to get that pit under caution, because they have yet to implement into the sim the backstretch pit entrance like they have in real life. So the pit entrance for these guys is going to be coming off of 4, and that's a tight turn to make at the speeds these guys are making and how close they're driving. So green flag pit stops are going to be wild. You're going to be hearing a lot of people, and we're going to be hearing a lot of people come over the radio calling out that they're pitting. You know, if you don't call out your pit and you get spun, that's almost an on-you situation also. So that's going to be a wild moment to watch when we get down to those pit stop times.
Yeah, if this is your first time ever watching an iRacing race, the drivers themselves are able to communicate with one another over voice channels as well over text channels where everyone in the field can see and hear. And those drivers can easily make that communication of, hey, we're pitting on this lap, we're pitting in a couple of laps, try to set up groupings and pairings, compared to real life racing where it's just wave a hand and hope for the best that everyone sees that you're waving your hand, which is a lot more difficult than real life compared to the sim world.
It just looks like also Vincent Soret has called it a night. He has disconnected. So sad to see one of our top drivers, one of the faster guys in the field, calling it a night still early in the race.
Yeah, early in the race, early in the season. Obviously, you don't want to start the season off on the back foot. And for Vincent Soret, going to be the second driver to call it an evening. But hey, these guys on track, they're not calling it a night of let's just calm down yet. As Douglas Newbegin forced in the middle, he'll drop behind. Going to be Ross Tatum in that yellow mellow machine. Also going to be having help with the 8 machine, having the split of the Dale Jr. red as well as the Dale Sr. black on that 8. I know Brian McCann very much enjoys this scheme that he's run here tonight. Ran it a couple of times last season. And it's always a joy when you get to see some throwbacks mixed and mingled in a very creative way like we see now.
Yeah, that is a really, really cool scheme that he has put together. It's one of my favorites to look at when I was racing around him. And he did a really good job. It's a fun scheme to look at. It is really, really cool to see some of these schemes that these drivers come out with, because it is complete creativity that these guys come out with. You know, some of these really cool ones. You have the SpongeBob schemes also that make many appearances. So it's a lot of different ideas coming all together on a racetrack. And it's just so cool to see.
It certainly is, as this front pack still all together. This front group all connected. Your top 28 still within the draft to one another. There's a couple of different pods that are on their own at this current time that have fallen off of our lead pack. I think they've recognized maybe there was a chance of a wreck happening. Let's just settle in and calm down at this time. And one of those groupings, shockingly back in 29th position, Zach Hall runs there in the 1 machine with Shane Tarian. Also going to be the 44 of John Ross. And joining with them is going to be the 02 on our ticker, 2 on track of going to be Connor Berry, who are just nearly 7.5 seconds off of 28th position, but 9.5 seconds off of our leaders. This group mainly just an out of trouble situation that they're going for. And it's always curious when you see drivers in packs that are like this of, is this a strategy call or is this because of issues? Because we saw Shane Tarian involved with that incident that collected Cedric Hunter as well as Vincent Sora.
Yeah, that is a very good question between this group right here, because this could just be a strategy call saying, yeah, it's crazy up there, let's just stay back here, keep our cars clean for the most part. But I mean, Shane Terrian, when he did got into Vincent Sora earlier, that probably caused some damage that he might have not got fixed. So it could be some issues with these cars that just aren't able to get the speed and the momentum that the front group is having as well.
As this is a grouping of 4 that are still on the lead lap, but are currently just off the pace at this current time. But where we're getting a little bit more racy is just out of our side of our top 10. 11th place is where all the action is up front, and it's Ollie Fonseca in the 24, another yellow machine, stuck in the middle, starting to fade back as he's stuck in the Malarkey, as well as Sinchek Sandwich, finally able to find some spacing, but we're now seeing some drivers we really haven't talked about at all here this evening, just cracking into the side of the top 10. Watch out, 18 machine newcomer Timothy Harper, as well as getting to see now a veteran of the series, you could call the 98 of Ben Keeney, as well as seeing the newcomer of Justin Malarkey all making the call. Hey, it's go time on the inside. Let's try to make this lane move.
Yeah, I think it's time that, they're tired of sitting in the back. They want to see some movement, some action. Because it can be boring from a driver's stance just sitting in line. But sometimes it's just the right call to sit in line. But, they're trying to make moves, want to get up front, get into a safe spot with your teammates to make these green flag pit stops that could be looming at any moment.
Those drivers up front closing in on some lap traffic. We've seen lap traffic be willing to get out of the way. Not going to be the case this go around. Leroy Colblett's going to stay out on track. Everyone's got to be moving up, or this inside row has to pull along and just try to push this 42. And it looks like that will be the call. Ken Campbell forced to try to move this 42 to the middle, and well, it's going to get a little bit more tight as they squeeze 3 wide through 1 and 2 here with the lap car and closing in on Cedric Hunter.
Yeah, that's a great example of what we were talking about earlier. A lap car just trying to stay in the pack versus getting out of the way like Cedric Hunter's doing right there. And he's still just stuck in the middle, stuck there in the sucker hole. Nobody working with him. He is a lap down car, so he's going to try and slot into an open spot if he can. But it doesn't look like anybody's going to give him that room, as they're still 3 wide here on the front stretch.
3 wide, almost some contact with Harper in the 18 on the inside. Now Ben Keeney got to be closing in, almost contact once again. And what makes this tough is that for Leroy, he now is officially 2 laps down. Was hoping to be that first driver 1 lap down. Not going to be the case. He'll fall through this pack, through the sucker hole. But that was probably the cleanest just fall through the pack you could ask for, as he finally finds an opening to fall down and squeeze. As this field, obviously, that's their first reaction with a lap car that didn't just get out of the way. Kudos to the field for keeping it all pointed straight with that interaction.
Yeah, they did a good job just kind of shuffling that lap car back through the middle, just staying, keeping your lanes, maintaining, distance between each other. And that was a very clean, just shuffle the lap car back, let him get at the back of the line, and just get back into the traffic.
Everyone's going to be stuck 2 by 2. Again, on the numbers that we were given for fuel was 68 to 70 laps on fuel. And looking at the field at this moment, last time they were in pit road was almost 50 laps ago. So these drivers still have about 20 laps to go. That's going to put them in that range where they should be good to take it to the end. As we are also closing into the range where if you wanted to pit early, we're just 3 to 4 laps away from it.
Yeah, you could pit early, but then you're asking, will that be enough fuel still with 68 laps? Because they're at halfway now, just over halfway. So, I mean, that's still 70-something laps. It's going to be a close call when it comes to fuel. So, pitting early, you can get that short pit, less time on the pit lane, but will you be able to keep the pace and that fuel saving to be able to last until the end of the race? But, I mean, the good thing about that is that could be a good bank on a caution flag as well, to put you in good position up in the front of the field to be up front controlling the race.
Yeah, and also with the fact of a longer run, do you want to have fresher tires for the longer run, or do you want to have that advantage of maybe if you have a clean stop with 4 to 5 drivers, having that quick speed and not having to worry about checking up as much as this front pack is. We look at some of the fastest laps that have been ran this race. 29.4 was the fastest lap from our leader currently of Ryan Kelly, but some drivers in the field, they've ran a 29.0. They have ran very quick, and that driver that ran that time was Ken Campbell. Well, he was working through the field trying to catch up to our leaders, and I'm curious for some of the drivers if they realize, okay, there's a pretty decent fall off to what our leaders are putting down to if we pitted at this moment. If there will be that grouping that's in the middle of this pack, maybe further on back to the side. Let's take the advantage of pitting now and hope that we have clean air to work with, because that's going to be the big thing of pitting, is hope that you're either in front of the lead pack or have clean enough air to have space to put down fast laps.
Yeah, when it comes to pitting here at a super speedway, you got to have a group that you pit with. It's got to be, finding teammates, finding people you can work well with, pitting together and keeping a distance from each other so nobody gets left behind. Because, 2 or 3 cars might be fast, but it's still not as fast as a group of 5, 6, 7 cars in a line. So when it comes to pit road, you hope you have a group of cars that you're going to pit with. And, a lot of these people might make a last minute decision to pit with people that they're like, saying like, hey, if we see these people pit, we're going to pit with them. So, and there might not be communication between them as well. So it could be a very, very sketchy moment when these pit stops get ready to happen.
Some drivers could be thinking about making a call here, especially if you want to just be absolutely good on fuel. You can wait another 2 to 3 laps and it'll be good to be making a pit. But it sounds like some drivers over the radio getting a little bit more vocal, and that's usually a sign of drivers trying to make calls of when they might go into pit road, when they are trying to get spacing to get down that inside lane. I know once we see everyone start to cycle into just one lane, that's usually the call that everyone's thinking about pit stops, and we continue to wait for that call for this field as we're still in the waiting period. This also gives us time to say thank you to our amazing sponsors, as we have ourselves a GTR simulator as well as Trophy Smack. As we continue to wait each and every lap, we're just a few away from these pit stops. But I want to say thank you to the newest sponsor to hop on board with the WSSR, being GTR Simulators. Head on over to gtrsimulators.com, and when purchasing, remember to use the promo code WSSR for 10% off. That's gtrsimulator.com. Experience pro-level racing at home with their brand new GTA Compact V2 Stake F1 Team Pick Salver setup. You'll want to check out their newest products. They've got plenty of other great products as well. Remember to head over to gtrsimulator.com and use that promo code WSSR for 10% off. Also want to say thank you to Trophy Smack. We did a small talking on their Wall Smack product. I know for a lot of these drivers, a wall smack is the best way to show off maybe your winning moment, winning vehicle, or just an image that you would love to show off. It's a metal plate that you can select what picture you want on it. And what's great about getting your wall smack, there's multiple different ways to show off that perfect image with their wall-safe magnet mounting system, or with buying a stand to place your image on a shelf, desk, wherever you'd like. Remember, when purchasing anything from Trophy Smack, from championship rings, belts, wall smacks, or more, remember to use the promo code WSSR SMACK for 10% off on purchase. We continue to stay green. Still no signs or vocal showings of pit road calling for this field. But Richard, up front, they are seeing a little bit more movement there in the corners for this field.
Yeah, there was one car that looks like got a little loose there on the front stretch. So a lot of movement happening here. King Campbell side by side with Ryan Kelly, kind of inching forward, getting that lead back as well. So, I mean, we're at a point now, we're in the fuel window. The only downside is like the guys up front that would be leading the entire time, they're the only ones that would be in question on whether or not they'll make it on the fuel after they pit. So it's gonna get really exciting here in the next, I'd say, 2 to 5 laps.
A couple of drivers, where do you want to go at this current moment? Cedric Hunter over the radio trying to figure out what he wants to place himself as the lap car is about to be caught by the field, and it looks like he will stay high. So a little bit of a change on getting by lap traffic as everyone has to squeeze a little bit lower as the 13 Hello Kitty machine stays high. The last time they caught up with Cedric Hunter, he was on the apron, made a lot much easier for the field. A quick squeeze, everyone drifts on by. Luckily, no contact, but I think, especially here in Atlanta, that getting by a lap car that's on the outside, I feel like it's so much harder than any other position that the driver is at.
Yeah, I'd say so also, because it's going to force the entire field to go even closer to each other, basically taking that middle lane. So, and when you get these groups getting side by side like that, then you got side drafting happening. So it's slowing the cars down, it's slowing the momentum down, but it's still a safe safe position for that lap car to do is take that outside. And Cedric did a good job. The field did a good job. I think the last time difference was they were 3 wide of another lap car, which is why Cedric made the smart decision on the apron. But it did give Ryan Kelly and Larry Yingling someone to draft off of and be able to get up and in front of Ken Campbell to control this race a little more.
Ken Campbell able to be on the inside, so I can see that outside road disappear. So every lap that goes by, everyone thinking about dropping lower and lower as pit stops are there very quickly for this field as we're closing in on completing lap 100. As the fuel window that we were given again was 68 to 70 laps was the window. If you're up front the whole entire race, that 68 number looks a little bit closer than you're going to be, as the last time these drivers pitted was around 64 laps ago. So pit road is within 5 to around 8 laps. It matters on how much fuel maybe you were able to save while we were under pacing from the last time we went into pit road, but we are here. This is the final call. And I'm nervous, especially, Richard, if the whole entire field decides to pit at the same time, there's not enough space for that. That would be the most amazing pit stop ever if everyone could pit at the same time.
That would take a lot of practice and a lot of coordination. I do not think that is something that can happen. We've got our first takers coming down pit road. Ryan Kelly, Larry Yingling taking the pit road. Dude, first there's a spin going in the entrance.
That's going to be Tom Sinchek spun around, and there was contact of drivers making zero communication of going into pit road. It was going to be Ken Campbell. Small tap to the rear end of Larry Yingling. Luckily, no one else got involved in that wreck, but it was too much on the brakes for Tom Sinchek. Goes around. That's a major loss of time, and he will not be able to stay attached with this front group that's about to be taking off and going in. With this pit stop, interesting enough, it is 4 tires and fuel for everyone that pit in that first group. Racing anyone else might be thinking about just 2 tires, or is it 4 tires for everyone?
It's definitely going to be 4 tires for everyone, Sam. Like, the amount of fuel you have to put in these cars when you're almost on E is going to be longer than putting tires on. So just go ahead, grab the 4 tires, get the freshies all the way around, get a full tank of fuel, and get back out on track, get that speed going, hook up with each other, and start gaining that ground that you had lost.
Oh, and trouble strikes that first group. Caught speeding Ryan Kelly. A 42nd hold for the 3 machine, as he will not be a part of that group that he pitted with, and he will go a lap down, if not more, by the time the 3 takes off and goes.
Yeah, that is definitely a danger here at Atlanta specifically, just because of the speeds. But that is unfortunate to see our lead driver, our dominating driver of this race, get a speeding penalty going to the pits. And let's see, you got another group coming in.
Oh, they're all drivers missing.
Cody Reed's going to miss the entrance.
Cody Reed's going to go back out onto the track. A few other drivers are entering through the grass. It's going to be Jared Kelly, as well as Brian P. Johnson, Nick Crawford, all with pit entry black flags, as they were all not able to slow down in time or had an unsafe pit entry. That's a 40-second hold for all 3 of those drivers. Cody Reed just opts out of even entering pit road. That's going to cost him even more time because he's got to go around once again.
And we've got another group coming in as well. It almost looks like Newbegin got slowed down in time, hopefully. It looked like he was coming in really hot. But yeah, going out back out on track, I mean, I don't know if that was the smartest call. And you'd have to, figure out the time difference there. But that is a lot of black flag penalties for these green flag pit stops. That is unfortunate to see for a lot of drivers.
Cody Reed stays out for an extra lap. He has to go into pit road either this lap or the next after that mistake, and just banking on a caution, just praying on it at this moment. With that mistake, he is the only driver yet to pit is Cody Reed, and he's all on his lonesome. A nightmare situation for the 25, who's got to slow down and attempt to go into pit road once again, and he is flying, and he's going to hit the cone. Oh boy, I'm waiting to see. I think he might have missed the cone, but he was flying into that entry. John Ross also caught with a speeding penalty for the 44. Cody Reed lucked out, no penalty, but ooh, that pit road entry, that pitting cycle, that was the drama we were waiting for.
That was definitely the drama, definitely the excitement we were expecting. I was not expecting to see as many penalties though, but for the most part, everyone kept it clean, no caution. We see a lot of cautions that come out for green flag pit stops, and everyone overall, I think, did a fantastic job, kept their cars for the most part straight, got in, got their service done, deal with their penalties, and Now it's time to either try to rebound or make your way to the front and be a factor at the end of this race.
As now, with the pit cycle concluding, we're seeing the big gaps of drivers currently up front. It's going to be Larry Yingling, John Forbes, as they were once battling to see who's going to be the lead driver. Now they've got to work together as they have the trouble of Lucky Ducks catching up behind them. They got the 00 flying through a Brian Noel, who's been 2 laps down or more all night long. Now trying to lead this group, Scioli, Newbigging, as they make the pass over the 67 and the 11. This is the first pack of drivers. Then you have to fall 3 seconds back to the true main pack, the biggest group out there of anyone collectively, being led by the 15 of Ken Campbell. But this is your first group of 4 drivers, 5 in total when you count Noel. But here's that second pack that's trying to run that group down.
Yeah, that second pack has got to stop doing the 3 wide, 2 wide stuff. They need to get lined up and get moving so they can catch that front pack. They still might be able to do a good job catching it, but they've all got to work together if they want to get up there and run for the lead up there, those leaders.
As still getting a penalty. It looks like John Ross got another penalty while leaving pit road. So he had to go back into pit road and serve down. Christopher Norris, another meatball flag that he's serving for himself. So the 38 looks like his night is officially done. Joining the ranks of Cedric Hunter, Vincent Sora, and Jan Wilkes, who have all called it an evening. Drew Jua still in pit road, getting his damage repair. We'll see if he decides to get back out on track and maybe take 1 or 2 positions away. Here's another pack of drivers. This is from 16th back to 21st position, being led by Cameron Thompson. But here's your race report so far. We've had 2 cautions so far. First one was the Drew Jua blinking out, spinning out caution that came out in the middle of our stage. Then we had a caution late in stage 1 that ended our stage with seeing the 6 machine of Wilkes being spun around off the nose of the 02. But since then, it's been clean, green. Atlanta Racing, we just got concluded with one of our wilder pit cycles I think we're going to see this season. There's been a couple of moments that maybe could have brought out a caution flag, but didn't. And Richard, it looks like we're coming down to those closing moments, less than 50 laps to go. And the question now looms, can that second group catch up to this group? Because currently they can't. They've actually lost time since we've looked at some of the other packs that are around the track.
Yeah, that's not a good thing you want to see if you're in that second group, because you know you all got to work together. You got to get hooked up. Stop doing the side-by-side racing, because, I mean, you're not going to win the race this far back. So, but that front group, though, still doing a lot of side-by-side racing as well with a lot of those lap cars. It's go time now. There's not, I mean, honestly, there's really not a lot left in this race. Less than 50 laps to go, and you still have a lot of time to make up. So hook up with each other, work as a full team and a long train, and let's get moving at some speed.
Lucky Ducks is just pulling along as they have just carried Yingling and Forbes forward as they get by some of the drivers, putting down even more laps down. Going to be Shane Tarian in the 9 machine, as well as going to be Adam Kraus, who's going to be put down to 1 lap down as well. You're left with just 22 drivers on the lead lap currently. And that's crazy to say. With the green flag pit cycle, over 6 drivers collected a black flag penalty during that run of our pit cycle concluding. But here's that second pack. And this is why they're losing so much time. 2 wide, almost 3 wide. They just can't get in line and just say, okay, this is going to be our front group. Let them fly. So everyone wants to be that lead driver.
Yeah, they definitely do. And one thing we missed was there was a massive checkup going, looked like going into turn 3. And every single one of the cars in that outside lane just kind of hit the bumper in the car in front of them. As you can see, actually, on the back of Jerry Hughes' car, there's some bent fenders there. So there were some hard hits in that group right there when they had that checkup.
Mike Cox just doesn't want to stay in line, trying to push out Justin Malarkey to the inside groove. It's Levi Cox, one of those drivers that's currently 1 lap down, trying to catch up to Leroy Koblitz, as well as Shane Tarian and Kraus up front of him. Trying to become that first driver 1 lap down and get that lucky dog position, but this group, I mean, they are not working as a good sequence together, and it is hurting everyone here as we're riding on board with Chris Stitz and just getting a sense of how helpless this group is feeling. there's just nothing you can do when you're the driver in the back half of this group. You're just watching the madness and scratching your head being like, we're hurting ourselves. We are now 8 seconds off the lead pack of just 4 drivers ahead.
I think someone in this group has really got to take charge and be like, hey guys, we're not gaining, we're actually losing time on that front pack. We need to get in line. But just everyone's wanting to, it's like they're racing for the win in this pack, but this isn't for the win. This is the pack number 2. So they need to work together, they need to communicate, they need to get in line and start working together, drive smooth, and try to catch that front pack because time's running out. They got 40 laps to go.
And when desperation starts to click in, that's when mistakes are bound to happen. Could it be in the second pack that we're keeping our eyes on? Could it be the third pack that's being led by the 18 of Timothy Harper, who's got help from Thompson, Bustler, Sinchek, who had his spin. And I gotta give credit, Sinchek, we saw spin entering pit road, didn't get a black flag, and still on the lead lap. The 26 had a great recovery after that mistake he had.
Yeah, that is impressive. I mean, it was a small mistake. It wasn't missing pit road or anything, so we still able to get back on track pretty quickly without any penalties. But yeah, just to be able to recover after a spin, nonetheless, even going on the pit road, stay on the lead lap, still be in a group of drafting. He's doing a fantastic job.
That is going to be our last of our drivers that are on the lead lap. Cody Reed is a part of Ryan Kelly, Thomas Crawford pairing of 4 that are all lapped down. Up front, it is still James Scioli that is pushing along Ryan Noel, having Douglas moving in behind. It is a 3 drivers versus the rest. Douglas moving, going to be seeing the Lucky Ducks drivers trying to work as one. And this is exactly what they tried to do last season. It just didn't work out in their hands. But this is going to be that final push, the final stand. Who can catch up to who? And for us, this is going to be our final chance to take a commercial break. It's been amazing racing all night long. We want to say thank you to everyone that's been with us. If you haven't already, it's time to share the stream because it is about to be the final countdown of who's going to be the driver to win the first race of Season 10 for the WSSR Cup Series. Could it be drivers looking for redemption after mistakes last season? Or could it be someone new that makes their debut here tonight? We're excited for all the racing action we get to call you here on Freaking Fast Broadcasting as we'll go side by side. You won't miss a thing as we'll come back for the final stages of tonight's race. It's been a fun one, and I wait to see you on the other side of this commercial break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we're under that commercial break. A little bit of an update on that second pack. They're losing time, and it is not looking great for themselves. When the pit cycle concluded, it was just the 4 drivers of James Scioli, Douglas Newbigging, Larry England, John Forbes, with also the addition of seeing Brian Noel. Those 5 drivers have been just on top of it. They've gained up a little bit of help from other drivers that were finding themselves being lap cars and are willing to just push and keep them ahead. The second pack had more drivers in line, kept on being side by side. They were trying to figure out who's going to be the lead driver. Well, their lead driver, whatever they're trying to do in this second pack, has not been working. They went from being 3 seconds behind the leader to almost bringing it a wreck. Huge slide. That's going to be Jared Hughes, who goes down to the apron. Keeps it straight, but that almost was the caution that was needed to help this second pack get back into this race, because they are losing time, and that doesn't help the factor either. Richard, he almost got the caution that was needed to make this race a little bit more dramatic.
Yeah, that was going to be the caution that second group was like going to take a deep breath for, but just didn't come out. Jared Hughes doing a fantastic job saving the car, keeping it straight, because I mean, nobody likes seeing cautions. Everyone likes seeing a race out for the most part, but this second group, whatever they're doing is just not working. They need to figure something out. They need to work as a team, because this front group is just walking away from it 12 and a half seconds ahead. 12 seconds ahead, sorry. It's just, I don't think there's anything they can do. They're just not gaining any time. They've got to hope for a caution here anytime soon.
And the big thing here is watch this group. You're seeing spacing, a lot of wiggling and moving all throughout the lane. Everyone's not just in sequence in line. And this is the first time we've really seen them sequenced out. Then if we go up to our top 4, where they've been running, it's a completely different story. They all are in line, smooth, clean, not a lot of wiggling throughout the pack. It's efficient super speedway driving we're seeing from this group, and that's why they're building up this gap, and they're actually catching up to our 4th and 5th car packs that are out there on track.
Yeah, this front group is definitely showing everybody how it's supposed to be done when it comes to drafting. Nice, smooth, stay in line, hit the bottom of it, hit your marks on the bottom of the track, and the less movement you have throughout that entire pack, the faster you're going to go. So that is the reason why these guys are just kind of leaving the second group in the dust.
They are certainly doing an incredible job. And questions in the chat wondering, was it a bad bump? It was a bad bump that got Jared Hughes out of sorts. It also was a little bit of a chain reaction of drivers up front checking up, which then forced the bad bump that got that 68 machine sideways down on the apron. Again, no caution. And that's about the 3rd or 4th incident we've seen on this run since our stage all the way back. Crazy to say this, all the way back at lap 28 was our last time we saw a caution come out, and it is since then been a couple of drivers knocked to the wall, knocked to the apron, no caution coming out. We continue to stay green, and this lead pack, it is our top 4 drivers that are mixed in the middle of this group. Our lead driver of this pack is actually a driver that's a lap down. That's Ryan Noel, currently 1 lap down, and the last driver that's 1 lap down. Behind them is where we find our leader of this race, of Scioli. 3rd driver in line is where we find Douglas Newbigging, then Larry England and John Forbes. All the other drivers behind them are the first drivers that are 1 lap down. And this front group, I mean, it's a mixed bag of drivers, but they are doing a great job of staying in line and just being smooth. Small little bumps here or there to keep their speed up. And with less than 25 laps to go, they look untouchable unless someone else further on back brings out a caution.
Yeah, these guys up front, they're just hoping this race stays green, because it's just a race between them 4 at this point. There's no chance for the second group to catch back in time. They've actually still lost time. They're now 12 and a half seconds back. They're not gaining anything. They just keep losing. So as long as this race stays green, James Scioli, Douglas Newbigging, Larry Yingling, and John Forbes, they're happy campers. They want this to stay green. No caution, nobody spin, every stay straight. Whereas your second group, Gavin Rogers, Ross Tatum, Dylan, and all them, they're hoping, hey, we need something. Someone spin, something happen. We need some kind of drama to end this race with.
We need help if it's possible, as drivers are making some emergency pit stops after getting some contact in the outside wall and getting some issues as it's going to be Kraus that has to make an emergency pit stop here late, just to top off on fuel. Then Genie in the 98 machine, currently back in 23rd place. He got forced to the outside wall. No required damage, but he's in trouble of losing the draft. A part of the 4th pack that's out there racing, and technically a part of the lead group, as the 98 is trying to stay his best attached to that pack that's moving forward. And I mean, this lead group of 4, they just continue to hit their marks, and they're just picking up more drivers with them. And this group's just getting faster and faster as this race progresses on. More drivers needing to have trouble. Whoa, big trouble on the backstretch. It's Tom Sinchek in the 26, spun around into the apron, but we stay green.
Wow, impressive. And caution everyone was hoping would come out. Tom Sinchek, but the spinning happening on the apron will not bring the caution out. So here we go, stay green. The leaders had a little bit of a moment there of sweat. That second group was hoping for that to be a caution, but no. Sinchek kept the car driving, still under green flag racing.
And here's the replay of what happened to that 26 machine that almost brought out this late caution that could have changed everything. You're going to see the 2 machine of Danny Cochran right on the back bumper. Just a bad bump, just merely a half a second too soon. The bump spinning out Sinchek on the apron. I thought maybe was going to let it roll back onto the racing surface. Straightens it out before it gets to the racing surface. We stay green as we got 19, going to be soon to 18 laps to go for Scioli, Newbiggie, Yingling, and Forbes. Those 4 drivers to figure out who's winning this race here tonight. Will it be the debut for the rookie Scioli, or will it be the others that are hoping to start on the right foot for this season's 10 start?
Yeah, when it gets down to the end of the race here, is Newbiggie going to try and, take the chance to win this race, or is he just going to push his teammate to the win? But then you have, Yingling and Forbes. Are they going to work together to try to make a run on the outside? And out of all these lap cars, who's going to work with who? What group's going to help what group? So this could be a really interesting end to the race if this stays green and it's just these 4 racing for the win.
Yeah, because you got to figure out who's going to be your ally. I got a feeling that we're going to see Lucky Duck stay in line. It's then on John Forbes and Larry Yingling to figure out, okay, do we have anyone that's willing to work with us to push and go forward? Or drivers making emergency stops for themselves. Going to be the 42 of Leroy Koblitz that makes a stop for himself here tonight. Going to be just topping off on fuel and taking off. And I think that's an interesting point, is watching some drivers just coming into pit road, topping off on fuel, and then taking off for themselves. As I know one of the things is there are sometimes when drivers accidentally underfuel their machines. That's always got to be a fear of, if you're up front, underfueled, or hope that you're one of those drivers that's in the middle of this pack, able to try to save some fuel. Oh, caution is out! And it's that 3rd pack, Danny Cochran and others! Oh, it changes here tonight as drivers just get another bad bump that throws this race into chaos.
Desperation kicking in, getting the bumps where they need them, trying to get the push and the speed, and just leading to bad bumps coming in the turn or in the middle of the turn. That's what happens. That's what it leads to, a huge wreck. As we see the replay, the 23 just giving a bad bump to Danny Cochran and just spinning across the track. Unfortunate, but that second group, breath of life, back into the racing.
They are back in this thing. Ryan Kelly, as he had his penalty, he will be calling it an evening with required damage, blown engine for himself. But here is the replay that sent us into this late race caution. The 23 Bustler, just a huge run on Thompson in the 41. Bad bump, second bad bump, and it forces the 41 down into Danny Cochran in this 3rd pack. Just nowhere to go. Everyone involved, they go around sliding everywhere. And this is the wreck that changes it all. It went from it was untouchable for Scioli and Newbiggie to breathing new life for the rest of the field.
Drama to end this race for sure. I can tell you now, the Lucky Duck drivers are not happy to see that caution, but we've got pit stops happening. Tires and fuel just in case, because cautions breed cautions, and we have overtime that can happen. These guys definitely need to top off on fuel to make sure they can make it through these overtime chances.
But some drivers taking the risky call. Gavin Rogers, Justin Malarkey, also Brian McCann, Ollie Fonseca, Ryan Ferraro, and a few others Seems like they might be thinking about the call, staying out for themselves compared to those that just get into pit road.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad call, but I mean, heck, you're in 5th place and all 4 of the leaders pit. I almost would have pit with them as the entire field because it puts you right there with them already. So I think the new tires, as long as, you know, those original 4 can get through the field on these new tires, they can still have a very good chance of getting up here. But we'll probably be close to, 10 laps to go when we go back green flag racing. So this is going to be a dash for the checkered.
Gonna be a shootout. Your top 6 young drivers currently deciding to stay out for themselves. Actually, we can add another one. 7 drivers staying out as Jared Hughes, Cody Reed gonna be 6th and 7th on this restart. As everyone from 8th on back currently on our checkerboard went into pit road. Majority of them taking just 2 tires. First driver to take 4 will be John Forbes in 11th place. Then also fall back to 14th, where we see Ross Tatum, Joshua Kanata, Ken Campbell also take 4 tires for themselves. Also, another thing of interesting note, with the timing of that caution, we've had 22 drivers on the lead lap. Ben Keeney going to be that driver that is last on the lead lap, and I'm curious if Levi Cox, I believe he will not get that lucky dog spot. He will stay with just 22 on the lead lap on this restart.
Yeah, top 7, like you were saying, not pitting, a very interesting strategy call. And, you know, Jared Hughes, as you can see, got some damage on his rear end from a checkup earlier. Let's hope that that doesn't cause any, you know, issues with his speed. It shouldn't. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if staying out on older tires was the right call because we noticed the drop-off of the tires later in the run, and they have 43, 44 laps on these tires.
Yeah, it's ranging from 40 to 44 currently. Cody Reed, some of the freshest tires of those that stayed out at 40, but that is a big difference compared to those that just got fresh rubber. But it is going to be a chaotic start to this one. Will be 11 laps to go. Gavin Rogers, Justin Malarkey, Brian McCann, Ollie Fonseca, Ryan Ferraro, Cody Reed, Jared Hughes, the 7 drivers that are risking it on old tires, but they want the track position. From 8th on back, Scioli, Newbiggie, Yingling, Forbes, they just saw their chance to win get a little bit harder. Pace car into pit road, into the restart zone. We are green. 11 laps to go here tonight for the first race of Season 10 for the WSSR Cup Series. Inside road gets a great launch, but it's Gavin Rogers looking for some help, and they're pretty far back as we exit at turn number 2. Here we go, Richard. They're already 3 wide and trying to make some big moves in the middle of this field.
They're 2 rows deep, 3 wide, almost 3 rows deep, 3 wide. This is going to get wild with 10 laps. They're coming to 10 laps to go. These new fresh tires, they might be the way to go if they can get through the field. Who's going to throw the block? So that's the big question. Oh, got a little bit of squirreliness, bumps. 4 wide on the front stretch. Going into turn 1, they're still door to door.
And they're trying to hold steady. Scioli, Newbiggie, they were trying to stay connected, but Scioli's the one who gets through. Gonna be still 4 wide, and Malarkey up into the field. They're scattering around. 4 wide did not work, and everyone's piling in as the wreck goes from the exit of turn 2 into the entry of turn 3, and they finally come to a halt.
That is the big one we see at super speedways, as just a bad push and a get into the corner of another car spins him across the entire field. And the top 4 able to get out clean, and that not pitting, that was a smart decision by a couple of those in the front.
A couple of them, it worked out. For others, for like Malarkey, it did not. Ollie Fonseca, another one as well, as you see drivers, some trying to slow down, others trying to find an opening. And everyone going from 185 miles per hour to figuring out how to dodge moving vehicles. And what a moment for all of them. I mean, 4 wide, we knew it wasn't going to work for very long. Somehow they went from the front stretch all the way through 1 and 2, and it was the exit where it finally went awry for all those that were inside of our top 8.
Very long wreck there. Exit turn 2 all the way to entrance of 3. Almost every driver from that 4th one back involved in this. That is a huge wreck and unfortunate for a lot of fast drivers as well, to include Larry Yingling.
what's crazy about it, one piece I cannot baffle that it did not happen. I've not seen any required damage. It looked like it was just a bunch of bumper cars bouncing off of one another. No one took hard enough lick or pushed someone in the wall hard enough to add required damage. I think the hardest hit I might have seen there was Brian P. Johnson getting forced in the outside wall, but besides that, no required damage flag given out to anyone out there on track, but a few drivers will stay for optional damage that they have to get damage repaired for. Cameron Thompson, who was one of our biggest movers in those first 20 laps, he will sit in pit road and has been there for over a minute and a half, currently in 30th position.
Yeah, that is really impressive. There wasn't really a lot of hard hits in that wreck. Everyone pretty much stayed out of the wall. You know, no hard hits like we saw from Cedric Hunter earlier. So everyone coming out, not necessarily clean, but still able to compete in this race, getting some of that damage repaired. So we still have a lot of drivers, even in that wreck, that still have a very good opportunity to get up here and challenge for the win.
And drivers that still are going to be on those older tires when we go green. Gavin Rogers in first, Ryan McCann second. Also fall down to fourth place is Cody Reed. Ryan Ferraro in sixth. Jared Hughes fell back to ninth place. And Ali Fonseca, that we saw that was heavily involved in that incident, he's in 11th and will continue to stay out there on track. Drivers from 17th on back all decided to come into pit road to get service done with repairs, just checking up on their vehicles. Shane Tarian in 18th place, going to get 4 tires and fuel. See if that's going to assist them to move forward. That's 22 drivers still on the lead lap, but extended time on pit road for Larry Yingling, who was in there for over a minute for himself. But this restart makes those laps a little bit more shrunk. It's going to be 6 laps to go when we go green. And Richard, I mean, it just ramps up more and more each restart.
Oh, it's definitely going to ramp up even more now. We're probably going to see more than 2 rows of 3 wide. I mean, everyone's going to be desperate. It's desperation mode now. Everyone needs to make a move. Everyone wants that win to start their season off strong. But you got Gavin Rogers and Brian McCann, 2 really strong drivers side by side. They could easily control this race. But then you also have the mix of fresh tires up there as well, with James Scioli and Douglas Newbigging running on new tires with Dylan Drilling also.
Yeah, they took 2 tires for themselves. We'll see if Drelling's got a big enough move to get up there. But currently, Gavin Rogers, Brian McCann, great launch for themselves. But was it too big of a launch? Will they be a little bit more patient here? Or are you trying to get a big enough gap, though, if a wreck happens, you're far enough away from it? True questions to be thrown, answers about to be delivered. As the pace car pulls into pit road, it's Rogers, McCann entering the restart zone. We're green once again. 6 laps to go. A little bit of wheel spin on the inside, gonna be from Newbigging, but everyone else up front in our top 4, great launches for themselves. Cody Reed hoping to push Rogers further up ahead, but it's the new tires from Scioli that's right on the back bumper of the 8 machine.
Yeah, Scioli's doing a great job using those new tires to get right up in the Graham McCann, but that outside line going to have the momentum. James Scioli going to look at the inside, going to take the spot away from Bob McCann now as Lucky Ducks control the inside. Gavin coming down for the block. Lucky Ducks back in line with new tires. Let's see what they can do, and if Gavin has anything for them, in a huge block as they go to the outside and take the lead back.
Newbigging into the wall, tapped by Cody Reed, and another spin in front of the field. Only a few drivers caught up in it, but there's the late caution with 5 to go. And this could be sending us into overtime. And it was the block that sent the 7 in the wall, lost all the momentum. And there was just nowhere left to go for Cody Reed. He kept his foot in the throttle, and it was a bad bump that sent Newbigging around.
Man, Lucky Ducks has got to be feeling this from hero to zero feeling right now, from being able to have this race basically locked down to now only James Scioli up there running for it as Newbigging gets turned and just major damage to him.
Also saw other drivers fall, though. Shane Tarian, I believe also it was Brian P. Johnson who got over that piece of it. Looking back, just a huge run from Lucky Ducks, and 3 of them in a row with one another. And just having the power to go anywhere you think you can go, but into the wall was Newbigging, the tap from Cody Reed right in front of Drelling, and then everyone else spun around. That was actually Bustler, excuse me, that got pushed up into Tarian, and Danny Cochran nowhere to go for the 2 machine.
Yeah, unfortunate for Danny Cochran as well. Another incident in being involved in. Sad to see, especially Lucky Ducks as well, being able to control this race. And now, you know, up to Scioli and drilling now to try and do this for Lucky Ducks, but Gavin Rogers doing a really good job, still able to maintain the lead through all that. So late breaks, cautions, and said it earlier, cautions breed cautions. How many more do you think we're going to see, Sam?
I mean, we are going to be right on the limit of overtime here as lights are still on. This will send us to overtime. Might be inside the regulation. No, because we needed the lights to go off this time. We will be going to overtime for the field. So we've got 3 attempts if needed. Once they cross the line, we'll officially cross over. But Gavin Rogers, Skyoli, Cody Reed. I got to give credit to the 16 of Joshua Kanata. He's in the mix here. Driver we really haven't talked about that much. Drowling's been a driver that's been in and out of being up front here this evening. Ollie Fonseca, even with his damage in this group. But with the way we've been seeing this racing, I don't know if we're going to see another caution here, Richard, because all those wrecks we've seen, it's been on the second lap of a restart where everyone seems to be getting into one another.
That's a good point. And, once we hit that white flag in overtime, there's no cautions that are thrown. So it's going to be a straight race to the checkered flag as long as they take the white flag. So we'll see. I mean, things do get crazy still in that first lap. They can still go 3 wide and still have some mix-up further back in the field. So I don't know. Let's hope we can get 1 lap down and get this race official, and let's see if we can crown a winner here in the next couple of laps of racing.
Yeah, and waiting on the pace car lights to turn off. That will be our indication of 1 to go here tonight. As seeing Gavin Rogers playing a little bit of games with the pace car and deciding he wants to be on the outside row, which makes a lot more sense. He would be having the fresher tires of Joshua Kanata behind him, as we officially are now into overtime, ladies and gentlemen. As if this is your first time getting to watch overtime in iRacing, it's very simple. Overtime is a green-white checkered. It's going to be 2 laps to go. When we go green, if we complete the first lap without a caution, the race becomes official, and it's all about who will cross the line to win. A wreck after we take the white flag will not throw out a yellow flag. But if we have a wreck on the first lap when we go green, that would then throw us into our second attempt at overtime, where the rules are the same for overtime attempt 1 and 2. They're slightly different for overtime attempt number 3. We'll see if this will be our final restart of the night. Richard, any final thoughts before this could be our final restart of the night?
Good luck, drivers. That's about all I can say. I mean, make your moves where you need to make them. If you want to try to win this, you got to make those dangerous moves. There's going to be a lot of them. People are going to be taking this 3 wide. We're not done seeing 3 wide door-to-door, even 4 wide racing, because we saw it earlier. We'll see what these guys can do to finish this race off.
What's crazy to say, almost every driver that was a part of that 7-car group that stayed out on the old tires, they're all still in the fight, still waiting for a chance. Will they be a part of a winning here tonight? It's time to see who will win the first race of Season 10. As the pace cars into pit road, our first attempt at overtime is green. Gavin Rogers, a great launch for himself. It's going to be Joshua Kanata right behind him, trying to stay side by side with Skyoli, but Skyoli's got the tires. Rogers has no help as we go into turn number 1. Richard, it's still anyone's game as they finally get in line up front.
Yeah, Gavin able to stay in front of Scioli. He's doing a great job with Scioli there, keeping him behind him. He's got the fresher tires, so that's really dangerous game because he's going to be faster. But Cody Reed, a great run on the inside. He's going to take the lead as well.
Cody Reed did not know if he was going to race here tonight. Showed up late, missed out on practice, was here for qualifying. They're spinning a wreck as they cross the line. White flag is out. This race is official. Cody Reed got too big of a gap. Gavin Rogers, Skyoli are going to have the run. Ollie Fonseca in the 24 as well, going to be right there. Malarkey as well. It is going to be a huge run that this 25 has to hold back. Here we go. Skyoli goes high. Rogers falls to the 25. They're both trying to find an opening to get around this. They're on production machine. They're 3 wide. Ollie gives the bump to Cody Reed. Reed has the run. They're 3 wide behind. Cody Reed wins.
Cody Reed not sure he was going to show up tonight, takes home the win in a phenomenal finish, and they're wrecking after the checkered flag. Phenomenal end to this race.
Ollie came out of nowhere giving the shot to the 25 machine. He got the run. You thought it was going to be the tires from Skyoli, but it wasn't enough. Cody Reed making all the big moves earlier in the race, in the right position late, will win here tonight on some of the oldest tires of anyone. got the run, got the help. I mean, Richard, that's part of racing here at Super Speedway style. You just need a little bit of luck, and you'll be finding victory lane.
A little bit of luck and a little bit of help. I think he could have been passed if he didn't get that huge hit from Ollie Fonseca. Ollie did a fantastic job, gave a great shove, pushed Cody Reed right out front, and just Gavin, James, and Justin just could not do anything to catch Cody.
What a run there late. They all started wrecking and scattering, coming to the white flag, and the opening was there. Cody Reed had the space. He had to put the block. Got the first push from Gavin Rogers, then got the final push from Ollie Fonseca. And Cody Reed is taking the first win of the season for season 10. He no longer is the part-time winner. Cody Reed is a winner here to start the season off. Enjoy this one, Cody. For us of the booth, we will step away. When we come back, we have the post-race show. We'll talk to our top three: Cody Reed, James Scioli, Gavin Rogers, and a spotlight driver right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show. What a race, what a finish. And it will be Cody Reed taking the first win of season 10 for the WSSR Cup Series. What a spectacular one. Had to use overtime attempt, just one. And it's the 25 heading to victory lane. That's where we will be taking ourselves here tonight to talk to the 25 machine. Cody, you are another win on your notch of WSSR spectacular moments. And how does this one feel as it's a season opener?
Dude, it feels great, and I cannot thank my goated teammate enough, Ollie. Like the shunt of the century in turn 3 and 4. Unreal. So this is just as much his win as it is mine. I'm super excited. And I decided today that I was gonna run this league, and I actually was planning on doing it part-time, but I said, if I luck into a win somehow, I'm probably gonna run the full season. So look where we're at now. I guess I'm gonna be running the full season now. So that's pretty exciting. This was crazy. This was such an up and down race. I felt like people were really getting ticked off by me at the beginning, taking it 3 wide and it just being super aggressive. Because I don't know. I get bored after a while. I was getting really bored on that big long run. But yeah, no, I love being super aggressive with these next gens. They just build a run so easily, so I like taking it. And then that middle of the race, I with the green flag pit stops, I have no clue how I didn't go a lap down. I missed it. The car on my inside was sliding, slid his tires going in, and then like kind of cut off the entrance of pit road for me. And I was also probably going to miss it even if he wasn't there. But I just completely missed it. Had to go through the grass, gas it back up. Almost missed it the second time. Almost sped. Had to go down to a complete stop basically to not speed. Somehow stayed on the lead lap because of Nick Crawford, also a goat, and like just lucked into that caution and kind of just stayed out. I also didn't mean to stay out. I was trying to pit because I know like tires are kind of important here, unlike like Talladega and Daytona. I was like trying to pit, and I missed it because I wasn't paying attention. But I'm glad that I wasn't paying attention, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, good job, Cody. A fantastic show from your teammate there to take the win, keep you in front of Gavin and James there. But how was with you kind of lucked out by missing the pit like you just said there, but how did it feel being on that old of tires with the fast guys with new tires behind you?
Honestly, like I was telling my teammates Ollie and Ryan Ferraro, like we all stayed out there and I was really worried. Like obviously track position is key here, It's not like Talladega or Daytona where you can, go 4 wide like super easily and make like these crazy moves to go up through the pack. It's like it's like the highway. It's just like highway traffic here. And if the car in front of you is not going, it's likely you can't go forward. So I know track position is super important, but I know tires are super important here too. But really handling, it didn't make much of a difference. I really thought it would, but I guess like running around single file for that time and I mean it wasn't like too long. I guess it was probably like 50 or 60 laps, but um I don't know, the tires didn't feel too bad, and I was actually kinda really worried on restarts because you restart in first gear. I was getting ready for some, maybe some wheel spin antics there, but no, it handled perfectly fine, and I'm thankful for that, which is pretty good. I would not have loved to see me, spinning in front of the entire field on a restart.
Absolutely not. Well, Cody, this is your second win, and this one is just as memorable as your first one when you came to the line at 3 wide. How would you rank this one? Do you think this one means a little bit more than your last win?
I think this one means a little bit more just because of the help from Ollie at the end, like, that was super hype. However, I don't think anything can match that finish at Talladega. Like that's been my phone screensaver. It's been my wallpaper on my PC since it happened. Like that's like the craziest thing I've ever done on iRacing. So nothing will top that. Like even some of my wins in the ISRC, I say some of them as if I only like I don't have more than two, but like nothing topped that one. It was just such an epic moment. But this one's still super important. I guess I'm gonna be committed to running this league full time this season now. So now I'm gonna try to chase after a championship.
Well, Cody, we cannot wait to see what it's like to watch you go full time in the WSSR. Enjoy this win, and before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Again, I'm gonna thank Ollie. He's the GOAT. That was insane. That was awesome. Um, he's awesome. I'd like to thank Nick and all those guys who kind of helped me throughout the race. Like Nick was actually really helpful during that long run. I could tell that he was kind of dropping back so I wouldn't fall off the pack. Because for like if you're the last car in a line, it's so easy to lose the pack ahead of you. And Nick was kind of dropping back to keep me in the draft, so that was super helpful. And then obviously, I'd like to thank like the admins putting this together. I'd like to thank you guys, and I'd like to thank my dad. He was pretty hyped. Although I probably spoiled the finish for him because I was screaming at the top of my lungs, so he probably knew I already won before he saw it on the broadcast. But I'd like to thank him too. And that's about it.
I think being spoiled by hearing you screaming was still a memorable moment, Cody. Enjoy this one. Congratulations, and good luck next week as we head to Pocono.
Yeah, thank you.
As we head from victory lane, we go to second place to talk to probably the driver that's going to be the favorite to watch out for of our rookie class that enters in. We have James Scioli with us. James, it's Sam and Richard up in the booth. You were up front in control for a lot of the night, but you're coming up second here this evening. How are you feeling after your performance here in your debut race for the WSSR?
I feel really good about it. I think we played the right strategy. We were able to break away there in that long run, which was really cool. Just me, Doug, and a couple of the other guys just got on and off pit road really well. Kind of waited. It's really tough to pit here versus like Talladega or Daytona. You can get below that line real quick. Here, you kind of just got to do all your braking on the track. So a lot of people were getting checked up and kind of losing a lot of momentum, and we were just kind of able to roll the top, still make decent lap time, and then pit after everybody and just get away. So was definitely hoping it was just going to stay green there when we were gone, but then I still think we made the right call to come get tires. They meant a lot today, even just a short amount of laps on them. So I like the call to get two and be aggressive there at the end. Almost worked. Just kind of had cautions fall at rough times. I thought that I had Gavin on the second to last caution. I thought that I was a nose ahead of him, but just couldn't quite get the lead out of it. I think if I could have got the lead, it would have been a different story. Just controlling on new tires there. So overall, felt I ran a pretty solid race.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job, James. You and Douglas there in the middle of the race, kind of controlling the race and where you guys were. What was the team dynamic like when that caution came out, when you guys had control of the win?
Doug made the call to pit. I was kind of questioning him, but it looked like we had slowed down almost half a second. So got to give credit to Doug for getting me on tires there, get me on the aggressive strategy. Wasn't quite sure if it was going to work, but then came out on that first lap on the first restart and was able to pass like 6 or 8 cars in turn 3 and 4. So just kind of listening to Doug, trusting him, and we knew that we want to be aggressive. We don't want to be on old tires, just trying to hang on at the end. I always like being on the aggressive strategy and just trying to go get what's in front of me.
I mean, James, you gave us a huge showing here tonight. You're obviously going to be a driver to watch out for. What are your expectations entering this season as a rookie into this series?
Definitely want to make the playoffs. Hopefully, can secure at least a win to get into the playoffs, and then just run good there and see how far we can get. Obviously, be amazing to make the championship for, but obviously there are also a lot of good guys in here. Race with a lot of them in different leagues, so definitely not going to be easy. That's for sure. So just runs like this, staying clean, 0 incident points, calling the right strategies, just not taking the race out of my hands, just kind of running up front and being there at the end, I think is going to be real important for the whole season.
It was a great performance here tonight, James. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Perfect. Well, first I want to thank you guys for broadcasting these. I'll definitely have to go back and watch it. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate the admin team kind of taking some time out of their week to help us out here and let us run for you guys. Then huge shout out to Lucky Ducks for bringing me on. Meals on Wheels, Mobile One, Team Rubicon, SimRap Market. And then if you go to We Are Lucky Ducks on Twitter, they're running a fundraiser right now for hurricane relief. So if you got a couple extra dollars to donate, we would really appreciate it. So thank you guys, and hopefully we're talking at you again next week.
Open for it. That will be the 77 machine of James Scioli. James, congratulations on second. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Pocono.
Thanks, guys.
As we move from second place, we go down to third to a driver we kind of got used to talking to a lot last season. He was quick for the pole here tonight, had a lot of work to get through the field, and will come away third. We have Gavin Rogers in the 75. Gavin, it's Sam and Richard up in the booth. Congratulations on third, man. How are you feeling after your performance here tonight?
I'm feeling good, tired, worn out, but it was a good race. To be honest, I didn't think I was gonna get that lucky there. I'm glad I stayed out because all those wrecks that happened behind me, I figured if I pitted, I would have probably gotten caught up in one of those wrecks. But third, staying out and tires being that bad, I wasn't really expecting them to be that bad. I thought it was going to be pretty decent. I was holding it wide open, but they still had a lot more momentum than I did somehow. But overall, it was a pretty good race. I'm happy to bring home a P3. Unfortunately, Jared got caught up in something, but he still managed a P13. So a decent finish for the team, much better than last season. We really sucked here last season for sure, but sophomore season starting off pretty well.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job, Gavin, coming from the back with not the strongest start that you normally do for qualifying, but middle of the race, you guys were in that second pack and just losing time. Were you guys just not able to get together and line up and hook up to start catching that front group?
Yeah, the front guys at the start didn't seem to hold it pretty good, to be honest. Then there was some guy in front of me. I didn't know he was a lap car until we got ahead of everybody. But I feel like if I could have gone up front and pushed, I feel like I could have held a decent lane and caught up to the front pack a little bit. We already lost so much time, so I was kind of just getting any spots I could because I figured there probably wasn't going to be. I don't think there was going to be any chance of catching up about 8-10 seconds with around 30, 40, 50 to go, whatever it was. But yeah, I feel like I don't know if the guy in front of me had older tires or what. I feel like I pushed the best I could, just couldn't really gain much on the leaders. But also to touch on the qualifying thing, I didn't realize I was supposed to be in fifth gear and I was holding a freaking steady line. I thought I had it, and saw myself in like 19th, and my heart just dropped. I thought it was gonna be a great lap, and I was like, I wasn't even in the right gear, so that was unfortunate. But the P3 finish kind of made up for that.
It certainly does. Gavin, I know we got a kind of a unique start to the season with the tracks we're heading towards. We're going to Legacy Pocono Auto Club before we have Thanksgiving break, and we're back for Atlanta once again in the 2008 configuration. How are you feeling about these next couple of weeks that are coming up, the next couple of races that we have upon us?
I'm feeling pretty good, especially for the next 2 weeks. I feel like the bigger tracks, I feel like I can that aren't super speedways, I could be a little bit more aggressive and kind of just stay in the front. I felt pretty good at Michigan winning there. I actually wasn't expecting to do that well there, to be honest. But Pocono, I guess can kind of be a toss up. I haven't raced there. I think it's the Legacy one too, so a little bit rougher. I think that'll play more towards my side. Kind of like Auto Club. I feel like that's kind of my best track on the sim aside from road courses. So I'm really looking forward to that. Not sure what's after that. Atlanta, I feel pretty decent, and then we go to Nashville, and they're on it. I feel pretty good for this season. There's a lot of good tracks that I feel like I could take advantage of, and hopefully get a few more wins than last season. I feel like I got really unfortunate in a lot of situations. I feel like I could. I think the goal of the season is to get at least 5 wins, hopefully. Might be a lot, but gotta put the high standards and try to achieve it.
Hey, I'm here for that confidence. I would love to see you try to perform that well this season, Gavin. Again, congratulations on third here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other extra shout outs.
Yeah, first of all, I want to shout out my teammate Jared. Good to have him on the team. I know we're a 2-man team at the moment, but he brings good spirits. He's a very funny guy just to talk to, keep the energy up. Also, shout out to Rev, kind of being in there with us. Also, a very fun guy to talk to. Want to shout out Richard. Proud of you for doing the broadcasting. You're doing great, buddy. you're also fired. I also want to shout out the sponsors on the car: Sundance Pizza, Butt Kicker, Sim Magic. Looking forward to the next few races this season, and hopefully we can finally capture that championship that we fortunately didn't get last season.
Well, Gavin, we're excited to see how this rest of the season goes for yourself, but congratulations on third. Enjoy it, and good luck next week when we head to Legacy Pocono.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
You too, as that will finish out our interviews here tonight. Sadly, we were not able to pick up our spotlight driver who we're hoping to talk to, Justin Malarkey, who comes away fourth here this evening, and get his point of view because he was part of a wreck and then came back for a top 5 finish. A lot of drivers, though, that we're going to take a look here at our unofficial results of taking a top 10 finish when they were involved with late wrecks, and taking the win ultimately, though, goes to Cody Reed in the 25 machine. James Scioli in his debut race here for the WSSR will come away in second, with Gavin Rogers off of his incredible end of the season after his rookie campaign. Going to be starting in third here tonight. Justin Malarkey from the booth to the track. He'll take a 4th place for the 73. Ali Fonseca, saw him spinning around in those late cautions. He takes 5th here tonight. Involved in that same wreck, Shane Tarian takes 6th with Ken Campbell 7th. 8th goes to the 8 machine of Brian McCann. Number 2, Danny Cochran. He had a lot of wild up and down moments. Involved in wrecks, accidentally caused a few, but he'll take 9th. And out of nowhere, didn't get to talk about him a lot, Ryan Ferraro in the 10 machine finishes out our top 10 here tonight. Wild nights overall, but Richard, 41 drivers hit the track. A couple of them had good moments, a couple of them not as great.
Yeah, Larry Yingling doing a great job, leading majority, being up there, not leading majority of the race, but like running with Ryan Kelly. He still got into some spin, or got to that big, large wreck there, the big one on the backstretch, still able to maintain the P11 finish. So good work for him to, still run strong. Some unfortunate ones, though. We have Brian P. Johnson and Zach Hall. Zach Hall, our defending champion, finishing P32 after an even, just a bad start also from qualifying in the back. So just some unfortunate finishes for them, but that's some super speedway racing. Hopefully we get some different and better results for them going to Pocono next week.
41 drivers entered here tonight, and going to be just a mere 22 able to stay on the lead lap. We know that there's a lot of other drivers that announced saying they were not able to show up for tonight's race. They hope to be here next week as they go to a track that we don't really see very often. It's the Legacy Pocono, the 2009 configuration. It's going to be very bumpy. The driver's going to have a handful, and this next-gen car is going to be tough. But it was a fun one to call here this evening. Also, thank you to the amazing sponsors of GTR Simulator as well as Trophy Smack. But if you want to check out some of the great racing action that we give you throughout the week, Monday through Thursday, we've got you covered here as we've just finished up our Wednesday broadcast of the WSSR Cup Series. Tomorrow night, we've got yourselves some Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series racing action as the open setup next-gen vehicles head to Richmond tomorrow night after coming off their week. They get prepared for a Rat 5 race setup that we've got for the next couple of weeks before the holidays come around. We'll have another couple of weeks off before the next year. Then we'll also be back for more racing action as the drivers of the ISRC Truck Series will be back in a few weeks. And then also we finish off the Tuesday night season with the Challenger Racing League as they head to Phoenix for their championship race. We're right back here for Pocono next Wednesday night. But before we call this this evening a good one, we got to ask Richard. Richard, your first broadcast with us. It's certainly a spectacular finish to watch, but how are you feeling and your final thoughts on the night?
Oh man, it was a fantastic race to call. Great racing by all the drivers also, being able to run those long green flag laps. Being able to get some green flag pits, we saw some wild entries too, so that was awesome to see. No, I had a great time, glad to be here for this season. This is one of those races I wish I was in the car, but I'm going to have a lot of fun up here with you. And yeah, this is just one of many more races that we're going to enjoy the rest of the season to see how this turns out.
The start of a brand new season, a start of a brand new story, and it's going to be a fun one. We're happy to give you the coverage all here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Richard Wolsifer, as well as Robert Moyer Jr. and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much to those that chatted, just watched, and those that have subscribed and liked, just joining us maybe for the first time. We appreciate you spending your Wednesday night with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. First race is done. It was a spectacular one. Had to go to overtime. Just needed one attempt at it. Well, your first race for season 10 of the WSSR Cup Series goes to Cody Reed in the 25 machine. And like he said in his interview, thought about part-time this season. He's going full-time. The playoffs are calling for the 25 machine. And who else will try to join him as the season continues? We'll find out next week, as our next destination is the Legacy Pocono 2009 configuration. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a blast. But if you can't wait for that race next week, we got you covered with future races upon us. Tomorrow night, we head to Richmond. Short track racing. That's probably the best racing to see with the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. You don't want to miss it. Tomorrow night, Richmond is our next Freaky Fast broadcast.